Alrighty. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of the Pathfinders podcast. I am Tree0311, here with my partner in crime,
Hello, everyone. I'm Nazeris.
and we are the Pathfinders, charting the way through all the nebulous information surrounding Star Citizen and its development. We're back. We took a day off. Yeah, it was a busy weekend. Man,
Were
still
you
tired.
also on the 24-hour stream twice?
Yes, I was. Yeah.
Okay, so we both were on it twice. So we went from watching CitizenCon for 5+ hours to doing a recap,
for 4.
podcasting for 4, and then I
Hours
started
of
on the
note
first
taking in
session.
between.
Yeah, and I started in the first session of the Paul's 24-hour live stream.
Oh, were you up that early? I forgot that you were doing that.
Yeah,
you were at the beginning?
When was? Yeah, I was the very first one.
Oh, geez.
That was. Yeah, that was.
It was
not
Eastern
3 in the
time
morning,
at
it was
5 a.m., right? I forget when it started because
whatever the post was. That's the time it was. Remember that much?
Yeah.
No. I mean the times were in EST on the
Gotcha.
post. That thing.
Yeah, because
it was.
It was 11 o'clock my time, so it was 1 o'clock. Was my first Eastern was my first time. I think I was group 4 or 5. I don't remember.
There it is. So at 7 o'clock.
Hey,
I was on.
Oh, you were okay. So yeah, it was 7 o'clock Eastern, so 6 a.m. Paul's time. Gotcha.
And then it was 1 o'clock here for your first time.
Mm-hmm.
Then you went again at 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then I went again at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, that's
nuts. The second to last one. And then we died Monday, and now we're here.
Yeah. Monday we took a day off from Star Citizen, but it's not like there was a day off period because still had real life.
Yeah. I mean, hey, I didn't take a day off from Star Citizen. I
really
bought
quick.
2 more ships.
So I moved everything over. Well, I moved the Pathfinder stuff. I still have to do a lot more work for everything else. Over from my stream PC because I am dealing with tech issues, and so I moved everything over at the last minute so we could get this done. You probably saw my tweet, but if everything sounds good, if we can just get a thumbs up or an 07 in chat, let me know how the levels are. And also, I'm watching my mouth on the camera and watching the little soundbar thing go back and forth. And so if you guys can take a look and just see if both Nazeris and I are in sync, audio and visual, it would really be helpful because this is we're streaming, we're doing the podcast, but I am also doing a lot of tech troubleshooting. And I think I have a solution to my audio issues that I was dealing with via my capture card, but I'm not going to be able to.
Is it get rid of the capture card?
Yeah. Well, it's so I'm not sure it's the capture card as much as it is the laptop I use for my streaming PC, not having the USB bandwidth for capture card, Wave 3, Elgato microphone, and Elgato webcam all coming in, even through a high-powered USB dock. It's I think the bandwidth is what was messed up. Mitch on Twitch, yo, my dude, Rooster, how are you? And Robert Vose, first time chat. Thanks for the heads up, appreciate it. Says things fine on Twitch. Robert Vose, I think I saw you in chat during the live stream, Paul's live stream. If this is your first time listening on the podcast, I want to say thank you for joining us. Yeah, the podcast, or the charity podcast, was just a ton of fun. I was so glad I was able to do that this year and get on there. And
That's rad.
That's rad. The mod. But yeah, it was a ton of fun. And if you're able to see, because well, you should be able to because you're watching this, unless you're listening. We're now at 77 followers for my Twitch. We started off on Saturday with 43. So it got us over the affiliate hump. I got my invite to affiliate status. So that got approved. And I guess that means there's going to be ads. I don't know. But
I don't know if you have to turn them on or they auto turn on.
yeah, I've obviously I'm new to the ad part, and how that works because I don't watch my own stream. But yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. I appreciate
I
all the
haven't had
new
one. I'm
follows.
actually watching the stream, so yeah, I haven't had one.
All right. The ads are apparently on. I haven't finished
There are
reading
ads.
all the emails that Twitch has sent me. Starjup Ender, welcome. We are congratsing on me on making affiliate status. Thank you for joining us this evening. Yeah, I got a bunch of follows from being on AstroPub's 24-hour live stream, charity live stream on Sunday. And so that put me over the follow goal for affiliate status. And so that got approved. And so now we are affiliating. And also got quite a few subs on YouTube, which my YouTube is just getting off the ground. I had the first couple videos on it. That reminds me, hopefully tomorrow I can get Saturday's episode up on YouTube because I did not have time yesterday or today. But yeah, if you are here listening, why don't we go ahead and Nazeris, if you want to plug your stuff, and then I'll plug my other stuff, and then we'll get into the monthly reports.
All right. Well, I do most of my stuff on YouTube, so it's just Nazeris on YouTube, Nazeris. I do lots of space and creative games. I'm currently running through. I'm on the 3rd chapter of the first Little Big Planet. I'll be going through all of them, and if I can get my Vita to work with Capture, I'll be going through also the mobile ones. And then I'll be doing a lot of game dev after that in Dreams. Hopefully, getting some actual games done this time. Other than that, we also do Space Engineers and Satisfactory sometimes. I will be, when I do end up streaming again, I will be doing it on YouTube. So if you want to see any of my stuff, it's only on YouTube now. Other than that, we will also be resurrecting the Star Citizen Adventures series that was doing way back before we had, I think it was before 3.0. It was before we had ArtCorp for sure. It was before we had Hurston, whatever patch that was. I had cut together a bunch of gameplay, and that's kind of how this is gonna go. Except now we have places to play, and we'll actually be doing real missions and earning real money this time. So that's what I'm doing over on YouTube. I think, and also I have a Discord. I think it's linked up somewhere on the channel here, maybe, possibly.
The Discord is I put all the links for your stuff in the YouTube when I upload it.
Okay.
And
so I'll just chuck that into into the chat then.
Yeah.
There it is. Okay. Super unorganized today. My brain is just not apparently moving forward. But that's Discord. That's where I announce whatever I'm doing when I'm doing it.
Sweet. And obviously you have found my Twitch here. Thank you for joining me again. And I also have a couple of episodes of the Pathfinders podcast up on my YouTube. I am not at the 100 subs on YouTube yet. And so if you are not, if you have not done the like and subscribe on my YouTube, I would very much appreciate it just to get me above the that 100, because I just have to get to the 100 subscriber limit, and then I can get the custom name. But I'm going to go ahead and drop the link in the chat, and that way I can get myself to YouTube .com/Tree0311 or 0311. Also, my Discord is I had the custom Discord invite, so just discord.gg/Tree0311. It's where we have all the news plugged into there for Star Citizen. All the dev follows on the Reddit and Spectrum. We've got a bunch of discussion channels. We're going to be doing some co-op online gaming as well in the very near future. And yeah, a whole bunch of good stuff going on there. Lots of good information and good conversation going on. So come on down and join us. And then I'm also on Twitter. Twitter is just Tree0311-SC. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into the monthly reports. What I'm going to do, just because I don't want everybody to see all our notes because they're super secret. No, they're not. But
yet we post them afterwards.
Yeah. Well, when we post them, or when I post them, I clean them up, just so they make us look good, look better. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I organize things. So whenever these videos get posted to you, the podcasts get posted to YouTube, I include the show notes, or a link to the show notes as a Google Doc. So that way, not as big of a deal for these, except for our little insights after we read through the things, but especially for the spectrum pulses and the scanner anomalies that we do, our regular content, our deep dives into the development and the way that the game is being designed. Those have all sorts of citations that we meticulously look up. And did I miss something? Oh, okay, I did that. Okay. So yeah, we put all those citations in a source document, so that way if you're like, oh man, that sounds really interesting, I want to read up on that, or hey, where did Tree and Nazeris find that information, because I'm having a conversation later. So that's why all those things get saved there. And then I'm going to be continually re-uploading all of our previous episodes onto the YouTube to get them up there so everybody can see them. And then my first 2 episodes that I've done for my own content is Lore Equals Gameplay, where I read through the Tuesday lore bits and talk about how they are applicable to the gameplay and how it will impact you. And so I've done the Galactopedia update from last month and the Booty Call comlink. Oh gosh, what was it called? There's a Booty Call comlink, and now I can't remember what it was called, what the actual title of it was. But yeah, so let's get on into the monthly reports. What I will do is I'm going to have at least the PU monthly report up, because there's a lot of the common pieces are on the PU.
Yeah, it almost half, if not more, of the Squadron 42 comlink was the same. Mm-hmm. Which this kind of like feeds into the 2.5 hour post CitizenCon Chris talk, or Rich Tyrer and Chris talk, because that was all about how Squadron benefits the PU, and so everything that we were able to cut out of the Squadron one, because it's the same thing in the PU one, is stuff that is worked on for Squadron that gets to go into the persistent universe.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it, because we take out the shared elements and we combine it into a single document, and then, but we still label the paragraphs, whether it's Squadron 42, this team, and the same team, same team name for the PU, what that one. If you ever look at it, it'll make sense. But if we find something specific that we're reading through and we want to, what we're going to talk about a little bit more, I'll pull up. I have the Squadron 42 monthly report up as well, so we can flip over to that. So let's see. I'm going to go ahead and sweet, it did it. All right. So nice. I have my notes up in front of me, but that way you guys can see the monthly report, and we'll transition to that screen now.
La 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 la.
Ta-da. All righty.
You just went like quiet. Okay.
Sorry. I actually have the wrong thing up. There we go. Nazeris, okay, why don't you, because that is your thing, why don't you start us off?
Yep. All right, so as always, I like to go through and read the little intro bits, because it is straight from the devs' mouths, and they would obviously like us to read it because they do put it there if they didn't want us to read it anyway. PU monthly report, September 2022. Welcome to the spookiest month of the year. If the terrors in the verse are getting a bit much, You can bury your head in this monthly report. Forget about Nilvilot and learn about everything accomplished throughout September. Sorry. Read on for the latest news on AI behaviors, upcoming ships, locations, and more. Welcome to September's Squadron 42 development report. Enclosed, you will find details on the latest progress made across the campaign, including the Vandul executions, wildlines, and the star map. Thank you for your continued support of Squadron 42. Sincerely, Seiji Communications.
And Robert says, "Are we going to talk about the Spirit series at some point? I have a thing I need to see if I am correct on."
I feel like the Spirit. I know we're just gonna tangent for a second here. The C1 just looks like a better freelancer.
I do like the Spirit. Crusader is not my jam, but I can see how it's very appealing to Crusader fans. Robert, if you are interested in talking about the Spirit has been a hot topic of conversation in the Discord. So if you want to hop in there and hit up some of the regulars about or here in chat as well while we're talking. Yeah, there's been some good speculation, some good confirmation of information. I know that they did make a change on the comlink pages in order to make sure everything was accurate, because I know it had said that like there was SCU for all of them when it was only supposed to be the C1. Yeah.
Interesting. The Spirit only has 48, where even the base freelancer has 66. So it is a smaller, but it has a tractor beam on the back. So interesting. Is the Crusader now must be?
Yeah.
I have a problem. I know. So do I. I bought 2 of them. The only one I didn't get was the bomber.
Yeah, if I had any need, I probably would have gone for the C1, but I have too many ships as it is, so I definitely couldn't justify spending them. Even though it's only $100 and some odd bucks.
I bought with store credit. I didn't buy War Bond or anything.
I will get
I have
the Discord link.
Rotating. Yeah, they were. I think the only thing I needed to melt was the X-wing, the Scorpius, whatever it is, the RSI X-wing, and then I was able to get 2.
You to do that.
I love it. I just don't use it a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I get way more use out of a Nomad and now my Steve, and oh my gosh, I love the Steve. Steve is best. Steve is love.
I was so bummed I had to cancel the gameplay stream I was going to do with Steve. Amchuka, welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the chat.
My cat's going to be absolutely annoying.
Nazeris, you're starting us off with AI features, right? Yeah.
My cat. All right, are we ready to go on to the next bit?
Yeah, go for it, bud.
Alrighty, let's see if I can find the right window. There we are. Alright, so because of how we do this, I ended up with 2 in a row. AI.
You're the one who did it.
T-shirts. Cat. Just attempted to jump on my desk. Hi, stupid. Dang. Oh my gosh. Alright, AI features. You always tell me you don't want the engine, so I had to work back from the engine, so I ended up with 2. Anyway. So some of the things they got up to in the last month, they continued to develop the trait system. They added 2 new traits. The first one is the Sentry, which forces characters to use defense tactics and never to leave cover unless compromised. The second they worked on is the Reckless trait, so the opposite, forcing characters to adopt aggressive tactics, which I think that's just a manner of speaking. I don't think there's aggressive tactics or tactics or a genre. I think that's just them saying their tactics are aggressive. Because in some gameplay contexts, that actually tactics are a thing that are given to AI. So I just think that's the way they're talking about it, because the trait is their tactic. Basically, is how they're working it with Star Citizen. All right, and they never use cover options. There are also aggressive and cautious traits that adopt varying weights of covered use. So if you're aggressive, you might if you're a aggressive sentry, you'll move between cover more frequently, trying to get the best position of your sentry. And if you're cautious, reckless, you're pushing, but you're pushing cover to cover. Is kind of how that would work. That is just speculation on what the word to say here. Anyway, they also implemented usables that allow context-specific search animations to be played around certain level features. For example, events over railings and around crates. We saw some of these at work in the 2.5-hour Chris Tyler talk, where they showed us an entire sequence of a NPC searching the room, and they inspected the vents. So those are those animations. Perception work continued. Work on the disguise system to be environment specific for perception meters for detecting the player. So there is some sort of a meter. I don't know if it will be a visual or if it's just on the back end or a debug kind of meter. And the environment specific means if you're wearing, let's say, a noob suit and you're trying to sneak into a high class lab, they're gonna figure it out pretty quick. But if you're wearing a lab coat, like they showed in the Babbage keynote a few years back, they might not be able to see that you're out of place so quickly. I imagine this will eventually also add to or work into acting. You have to act your part. That is what they do in Hitman. It seems like they're going rather Hitmanish for stealth. So they also added
Not
new
sprinting,
wild lines,
not jumping around, but
not crouching everywhere if you're near other people. Yeah.
The new Babbage, and then also one of the playthroughs of the keynote from last year. Remember where they came in and changed clothes, in order to blend in. But it also, if you're in Pyro and you're wearing the Stanton high fashion clothes, you're gonna stick out like a sore thumb. And I think they also mentioned something either in this or was it in the talk that you were talking about with Chris and Rich, where it's a distance thing. Like if somebody gets close to you, they're gonna be like, "Wait a minute, I don't know you."
Yeah, that was in the Chris Tyler talk.
Yeah, but if they're farther away, they're just like, "Oh, okay, you look like you belong here."
Yeah. So you don't want to walk up to the security while you're trying to stealth around a thing, even if you're disguised and acting properly, even if you stole a pass from someone.
I haven't seen you here before.
The security will be able to detect you, much like in Hitman as well. There will be those who can find you and those who do not care. So, well, actually, strike that. They haven't confirmed that. But I would imagine it would be the security would know a bit more than the workers around. Again, that actually has not been talked about, so we'll see. Let's see. New world lines were integrated for signaling this new gameplay. So that just means that the gameplay basically talks to you. If they see you and they don't really know, they'll say something like, "Hey, I think I saw something," and that will just cue the player instead of giving them a UI thing to say you're this hidden. The game just talks to you, where the NPCs will talk into the world, and it's just there to give you an idea of your status in the world. AI feature progressed with the last one is the AI feature progress with the human female combat animations. And now onto Squadron. Yep. They implemented several new features for the combat with the Vandal, including gameplay for when the player is in close combat and knocked down, which we actually heard about, I believe, in the last monthly report. Players will now have a limited window to move out of the way before synchronizing execution animation is played. Okay. I wonder if there's a roll to the side button. Because I know you can roll over, but is there a roll out of the way button that we can have? And then a quote from the feature team. It says, "This really sells the Vandal as a serious threat, where split-second decision making is important to win the fight against the powerful and aggressive foe. If the player successfully dodges the Vandal attack, it gives a short breathing period during which the player can mount a counter-offensive, the AI feature team. And the last thing for the AI feature team, they also continued blocking out specific Vandal animations, including the execution animation mentioned above. So more animations for the nice, kind, fluffy Vandal. And with that, onto AI tech with Tree.
Oh, I shudder. Like, you know the clip from the Squadron 42 trailer where the Vandal, like, with the spiky spear thing, and I'm like, oh, every time I see that, I just get a sharp pain in my chest, and I'm like, oh gosh, I can imagine what other execution animations they have.
Now imagine taking the rest of the scene. He was the last one left, so they already went through and killed everyone else and left him wounded.
Yeah.
Then they came back for him.
I need to move the boom over another inch or two.
So that's doubly like terrifying. Like either they wanted something, or they just wanted him to suffer a little while longer. Like they are not nice aliens.
Yeah, they are predators. All right, so for AI tech and AI tech. Last month, AI tech extended the functionality of navigation links, which involved finishing their work on ladder extenders, which we saw at the CitizenCon presentation with Chris and Rich. And by navigation links, I think that also extends to the tech that they used for the parkour. But I don't remember if they use that verbiage. Now NPCs are able to use and traverse ladders in a similar way to players. They also extended navigation links for doors to allow NPCs to use the entire width of a door, useful for wider doors or gaps in general, and enable collision avoidance while traversing.
So a navigation link is specifically for NPCs to get between two nav meshes.
Yep.
So for those who know a little bit about video game development, you bake or you have a dynamic nav mesh, and they can't go through things, especially stuff like doors or up walls or anything. You need to make a specific code to transition those two nav meshes.
Stairs,
so that's
ladders,
what NavLink is.
The vaulting and the other stuff, so they can jump up and grab onto things, jump down. Yeah.
Nav meshes are really dumb things. They don't do much.
The navigation links are probably, I imagine it's an issue with the navigation link that keeps the NPCs from getting out of the Cuddy Blacks for the dropship reinforcements and the PU, because that's a navigation link as well, going from ship to the navigation mesh. Yeah.
Yep.
They extended the way NPCs interact with closed doors too. The aim was to have the AI correctly understand which door panels should be interacted with during traversal. To achieve this, the routing functionality inside the usable system was improved to use entity links. So now that NPCs can open the door, so you're not going to be able to just close the door and then oh, where did he go?
Ooh, that's kind of
resume
scary.
my patrol. Let's see. For
honestly,
locomotion,
we don't have any doors in the persistent universe to stop them right now. They very specifically, except for on the new event, Siege of Orison.
Yeah,
there was doors in then. We were able to use those very aggressively.
Yeah. No,
now we can't.
Heal. For locomotion, they worked on reducing foot sliding and leg phase blending. That'll be nice because the way the animations blend in together on the NPCs is real rough. This involved reducing foot sliding during stop animations by matching the leg phase, adding support for selecting the best animation option based on the leg phase, and extending the system to implement the use of sharp turns for walking. On the internal subsumption editor, that's just saying that the NPC movement is going to look a lot more fluid and lifelike. Unlike the way most players sort of around. Yeah.
They've been doing a lot of work on just the general animation for NPCs lately.
It's almost like they're polishing before releasing.
Yeah, doing a lot of polishing, but it's there's polishing and then there's whatever they're doing now.
Yeah.
Because this is the third month or so we've been hearing about either diversifying the movement or fixing stupid edge cases. I mean, this month's general polish, but was it like 40 or something different walk cycles that we heard 2 months ago?
Yeah.
Like, they've been doing a lot of just
So every NPC
background
doesn't
noise
walk at the
kind of
same
things.
pace.
Yeah.
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 A
Background
lot
noise
of
kind of
things that
animations.
most games just leave out. They're like, oh, the NPC can get around and it looks okay. Sweet.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah, this-
GTA is not going to have that level of detail. It's just not going to happen.
yeah, it's the juice isn't worth the squeeze for a lot of games, a lot of companies, but I appreciate it. It's fidelity, it's immersion. On the internal subsumption editor, the team addressed usability feedback from the designers, and bug fixing continued. They also began extending the tool to manage the editing of master graphs, which has never been possible in the external tool. Interesting. Yeah, so it sounds like they're also working on the subsumption editor, so the editor that allows them to work on the the subsumption AI for the different NPCs, and that work is the more they're able to work on that editor and iterate on it, the faster that they can work on the AI, put in new behaviors and new tech that makes the AI more believable and functional. Work was also done to extend two different areas of AI perception functionality. The first not only allows NPCs inside ship cockpits to target on-foot enemies. Oh dear. Not visible to radar, but also allows NPCs on the ground to visually track large objects such as vehicles and engage in ground-to-flight combat. You better believe that this is going to be making its way into the PU within the next quarter or two. So not this quarter that we're in right now, but I guarantee you that this tech is they're going to want to get this into the PU for us to break it and test it real fast, because this is important for Squadron. This is key core functionality, so that way things don't have to be scripted, and so they're going to want us to see this in like 3.19, so that way they can work on it, just like getting in the dropship reinforcement stuff. They need it to get into the game, so that way we can find all the edge cases in which it doesn't work, so that way that they don't have issues when this stuff releases out to the wide world. But yeah, that'll be really cool when not only did the dropship reinforcements come, but the Cuddy Black does a strafing run, or it has a Redeemer escort, that's able to attack you as you're running around on the ground, or when you go to do a bunker mission, or what is it, Ghost Hollow or something, they actually shoot at your ship, and it isn't just turrets that are standing there and easy to destroy. You've got manpad missiles, the Animus missile launcher, and what's the name of the railgun? Yeah, that's going to be intense. It is, I forget if it has a name like the Animus. The second is audio perception. Previously, NPCs could hear any sound if they were at the right distance from it. Now, the hearing component and audio map use the volume of the sound at its source and then calculate the strength of the audio received by the listener. This is used inside the perception component to influence the perception meter based on how strongly the sound is perceived. The new extension allows the designers to create multiple curves to describe the influence of the different audio semantics. For example, explosions have a different influence than footsteps. Each audio stimulus also has a different maximum value it can push the perception meter to. That's also Scourge Railgun. Thank you, Robert. Appreciate you. Because I never would have remembered that. So the audio perception stuff, that is an audio version of what we were just talking about with visual perception and disguises. If it isn't just a oh, okay, well, as long as you're within the range that the sound can go, you're going to hear it. No, that if you're at the far edge of the range and it's really weak sound at that point, there's a good chance that they won't hear it. That they might not perceive it. And so it'll be much more scaled versus just being within the circle bubble that the sound makes. Actual real sound dissipation, but also the differentiating between footsteps and an explosion. If an AI is if you throw the wrong grenade, The AI down on the other side of the room or the other side of the building are going to come running because why was there an explosion? It's a big deal. But if they
Yeah.
just hear some footsteps and they're like, oh, okay, well, there's other, AI, they might not turn around and listen for footsteps if, they're, other NPCs from their faction there. It isn't going to be as alerting, to them.
I like how they can make different perception curves per sound genre.
Yeah. So remember the audio software or the tool thing that they made that they talked about,
Mm-hmm.
was it last
Yep.
year or
Yep.
was it the year before?
It
Last
was
year,
last
right?
year.
Yeah.
Yep.
I guarantee you that tool that they made for the audio teams is what they're talking about with this, where
Yep.
they can add in a sound and then they just put in the sound and then, okay, it has these parameters, boom, done, it's out into the world, ready, set, go, versus a
Yeah.
whole bunch of crazy hard coding.
Yep. I would definitely believe that.
Yeah. Finally, for AI tech, the idle system was extended to allow the designers to set up different weights in the idle sets available to different usables. This allows them to better customize which idle set should be prevalent during the selection based on the environment they're creating. I wonder if weights is weighting it as far as affinity. If you're going to be idle, you're more likely to use this usable versus that usable. I don't know. Yeah. Well, on to AI vehicles, Nazeris.
Yeah, I didn't know how that one was worded. It was worded weird.
Yeah.
Let's see. AI vehicles. Vehicles. They're vehicles and the vehicle AI and the vehicle feature team. There we go. Worked together on AI targeting things other than vehicles, such as turrets, components, and stations. This means they're getting even worse. At killing, or even better at killing things. Ooh. Um. This is combined. I think I wrote this wrong. With special, yeah, this is combined with special behaviors for strafing runs that allows the AI to perform attack runs on stations. That was specifically called out in the thing. On the squadron side, they also worked on an the AI system for Chapter 1, which involved a large number of AI attacking a capital ship in coordinated waves. I wonder what could have happened.
So this is, they are taking, AI vehicle work, and they're building it for two different things. Like the same system allows them to, do different attacks on capital ships as well as attack stations. And you better believe that AI behavior isn't going to sit on some digital shelf, and collect dust for the next 6 months. That is totally being made, not only to be able to be made used systemically, but for events
How much
like
do you want
nine.
to think or how much you want to bet that the guy doing that leads the in-game events wants this for the next version of Ninetales Lockdown?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was gonna say. He
Yep.
put in a special request, and please, I need this. Please make this for me.
And that is it for AI vehicle. I keep wanting to say vehicle AI. Back to you for AI content.
Yeah, those particular behaviors of the multiple different attacks for, um, attacking capital ships and coordinating waves instead of just helter skelter. And then picking splines so they don't just go straight at it. They'll come up here and then come down like that. Depending on what they're doing. Strafing runs on stations, like that's just nuts. That's wild. AI content. Let's see. Yeah. Throughout September, let's see. This is Squadron 42, right? Yeah. So let's pull that
Squadron
up.
42 ones are darker.
Yeah. So for AI content, throughout September, AI content continued to work on the vendor and patron behaviors that will allow AI characters to serve, carry, and consume food and drink. This complex set of behaviors is progressing well and will add impressive fidelity to several areas of the game, and will eventually be in the PU. They also got the new medical behavior working in the Idris. Ooh. exciting.
I'm hearing a lot about lately.
Yeah. Yeah, medical behaviors, medical armor. Yeah, there's a lot of work going on for medical stuff. Even though actor status tier 2 got pushed back a bit, they are pushing that the medical stuff. Alongside behaviors, progress was made on 2 important new usables. The first is used for opening crates, inspecting the contents, and lifting items in and out. So we're getting a crowbar. Hell yeah. The second is for a tactile chair that allows AI characters to get in and out by rotating it with their hands. Imagine that's maybe that's like a captain's chair of some sort, or a like a bridge crew chair. Progress is made on the Quartermaster too, which involved a new mocap, updating poses, polishing animations, and prototyping dynamic conversations. Back to you for animation.
All right. I lost where there we are. Okay. The facial animation team dedicated most of the month to multiple PU character sets, including lines for rescue transport or rescue transport gameplay. I believe that's still incoming 318, right?
I don't think the rescue missions they're not on the release view, but I know the rescue transport missions are still on the progress tracker, but I think they've got more work to do.
I must have mixed them up. Anyway,
Soon TM.
they're working on them. Yeah, soon TM. They also provide mocap on and on-set facial services for the marketing team. For those of you who don't know, there's going to be a lot of facial animations and lighting work and lots of stuff for AI in this report. Because there's a lot happening. There's actually a lot happening, and I have some theories, what we'll get to later, about what they're doing with AI this year. And then the last one, the second to last one, the not Squadron one, they're currently working on cleanup and facial animations for various Q4 events. Various Q4 events.
Various means more than one.
Yes, it does. It does indeed.
Yeah.
One of them is definitely AI, though.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it just means, but it will be getting IAE, and there will be other events running,
and at least something else.
Yeah, and because they're getting stuff running, ready, because we have our 2+ week break, over the December holiday and into the new year, and so they always want to have an event or two running at that time. It'll be a busy schedule, and hopefully by then we're in 3.18.1 and it's had a lot of polish.
I mean, that's a big ask.
I think that they're going to have to put out a 3.18.1 before the end of the year, before they go on break. If 3.18 itself comes with
you
IAE,
think they're going to get 3.18 out of PTU? Note, at this time, it hasn't gone to Evocati yet. So, middle of October, we get an Evocati. Sometime before December 31st, we get it onto live. And they have enough time for a 0.1 to go to Evocati and live?
IAE is 3.18. They said IAE will be on 3.18.
I know!
Yeah. Which means that it will be live for IAE. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think Robert, I don't think it's going to make it in a good state. But they said, they have said more than once that the plan is for IAE to be 3.18, and so I think it'll drop.
I think they're
IAE,
just gonna shove
hell or high water.
I think they're just gonna shove Evocati out tomorrow, whatever state it's in, unless there's something that just no one can log in ever anyway. I think they're just gonna say, "Hey, it's been a month and a half. We have to get this going," and they'll just deal with the firestorm.
Yeah, PES needs testing at scale, not individual component testing like they do. They really need to test stability for PES more than anything, and that means PTU, not Evocati. So we'll zip through Evocati real fast.
They've talked about what they do when they're holding out on Evocati, and it's not like, oh, hey, maybe this bug needs a little bit of work, or we're trying to get this feature. No, when they're go no go for Evocati stuff, it is, can they log in consistently enough, 50% of the time? is the frame rate more than 1. Like, it's really bare bones stuff. And so not having it 2 month and a half after the release, something went horribly wrong. They were not expecting whatever happened when they went to go push it for I imagine it happened when they merged the builds. And that's what broke it.
I started on the 19th of November last year.
That's a month away. It's like a month away.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's going to be a week of Evo, like 2 weeks.
Do you think we're going to be
Wave
playing
1, Wave 2, and then a week of open PTU, and then it's going to go.
I don't want them to push to live. Like I said all year, I don't want them to push buggy builds to live. So keep it on PTU.
It's too late. They already said it though. They already said it. It's going to happen. Because they have made everything for IAE in the 318 build.
Yeah.
So the porting it over to a 317.3 is just not an option apparently at this point.
What's the chances we get a PTU AIE?
The third Friday in November is the 18th. So the 18th is when IAE will start. And today is the 11th, so that's, let's see, from the 14th, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got a little over 5 weeks. We got 5 weeks and 3 days. 5 weeks and 2 days.
Those poor engineers.
Yeah.
Like
a buggy free fly.
Oh yeah, that's never happened before.
Oh my gosh, we just got raided by Buster the Destroyer with a party of 24. Buster, hey, thank you so much, friendo.
Long time no talk.
Everybody who just raided in, thanks for joining us. Since I just got a whole bunch of people coming in live and listening in, yeah, break out the Buster bars. Num.
I prefer double dogs, but okay.
But so welcome to the stream. We are going through the combined monthly reports this evening. That is what we do. Since I have your attention right now, if you were on if you watched the 24-hour charity live stream with AstroPub on Sunday, you might have heard me mention that everything I do on Twitch and on YouTube is for charity. So just reached affiliate status, so any and all advertising revenue that comes into me goes straight to stackup.org. And that if you see in the chat, it's stackup.org. It just started the fundraising yesterday for it. So if you are feeling generous and would like to donate, there will always be a charity drive in this channel on my content. Mostly for stackup.org because I'm trying to do this to benefit veterans because I am a veteran currently serving as well. If you are feeling generous, I would appreciate your generosity towards stackup.org. A lot of people stream because they are want to have fun while also making a little bit of money. I make a good living. I require nothing else. I do this for fun. I do this because I enjoy hanging out with Nazeris and talking about this stuff. And if we can do this and also raise money for people in need, then absolutely. So thanks for joining us. Thank you for coming and hanging out. Thanks again, Buster, for rating me like that. I really appreciate it. Always a fan. We're looking forward to Buster getting the feminine clothing that she so rightly deserves in the persistent universe.
I think it was there was a lot of I forget which video it was in I forget which video it was in, but there was a lot of female clothing stuff on NPCs. I think it was part of the 2.5 hours Chris Tyler talk. There was like lots of dresses.
We were talking about disguises earlier on in the monthly report.
Mm-hmm.
I want to disguise. I want to get dressed up and disguise myself and go someplace I'm not supposed to do. Act a part like you were talking about. in female clothes, I, by my pretty pink bonnet, I will end you.
There we go. I knew it was going somewhere.
Yeah. Well, that soundbite is one of the ones I want to get on the channel. Paul has all his sound bites. I want, by my pretty pink bonnet, I will
Pink
end
bonnet.
you.
I need to put the dinosaur one in. That's what I need to do.
Female clothes, and the other thing that's been interesting, and this is, well, on topic for our little tangent, is the work that they've been talking about for the female female spec ops character has been mentioned by numerous different teams over the last few months of all the work that they're doing for a female spec ops character. And I don't want to assume that it's the advocacy agent that we saw in the vertical slice. It could be someone else, but it's cool that they're doing all that work, because it means that they're also working on getting the female model up to snuff compared to the male character model in the PU.
And Chiroi, the clothing is by different people than hairstyles, so they can both do it at the same time. And clothing's way easier than hair.
As you can see, I definitely want lots of hair options and more higher fidelity hair options, because I will not be role playing this in game. Otherwise, I will never take off my space helmet.
I can't wait to see hair physics is what I'm waiting for. Hair physics, because we have 0 hair physics right now.
Hair that actually I think that's is more believable and realistic.
Yeah. Like, even just, I'm really looking for the hair shader, but will really set a new bar for Star System characters is physics. And I follow a lot of graphic, what is it called? Graphic science stuff, and the crap that Unreal Engine can do, now Blender can do it, and just the height of hair simulation. I know we're not going to get that far, but any hair physics would be nice.
Yeah. It's
I'd like to see my character's hair just all blow back when I'm driving.
The hair work is going to be a challenge, with the helmets and everything. But I'm confident that they can do it. It's just it's just another one of those things that they have to refactor in order to,
just
make it
get
happen.
One of the planet guys on it. They seem to just have voodoo magic.
Yeah, hand over the if there's any character art or character tech people up in Montreal, let them do it. They'll figure it out.
Yeah, that one. Get the Canadians on it.
We have faith in the Canadians.
Much.
God bless them.
Much. All right, we should probably get back to it.
Tangent,
where are we? We were just going into the Squadron version of animation, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yep.
Sure. Okay. Gameplay-wise, animation worked on ladder locomotion. Again, more ladders for both players and AI. We saw the player side in the Chris Tyrer 2.5-hour talk at the end of CitizenCon. Let's see. They continue work on EVA and zero-G improvements. The feel and functionality. Also talked about in the Chris Tyrer talk. Gadgets were further developed too, including the deployable shield and Gelson weapons. Okay.
Deployable shield. Finally, we're getting that.
I'm actually way more excited for the decoy.
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah.
So I can send him off in a different direction and be completely fine, sneak away.
Yeah, there's a lot of usables that they're working on. It's just the deployable shield stood out to me because I remember that from the Ilphonic days.
The deployable decoy was in there too.
Yeah. Yep.
That and claymores. We need claymores.
Claymores, the breaching charges, because I think it was a Space Tomato video where he was showing off the Nazeris, what's it called, with the destruction physics, the soft body or soft material or something
rigid
like
body,
that.
hard body, or rigid body and soft body animations.
Destruction. It was so that the clip that he showed was from some ISC or something that showed them blowing a hole through a wall panel on a ship.
Oh, that was super old. That was them using a soft buy simulation on a wall to render in an explosion. That was a canned one.
Yeah.
But that's what they're aiming for. Like that's the pie in the sky, like what they want everything to
I
do
want them
anyway.
to open up that can on everywhere because I don't want to. Okay, so if you're new to the stream and we haven't met other than the Polished Charity live stream, I'm a former infantry marine. I was an infantry marine from 2003 to 2007. I've breached a lot of doors. Breaching doors is all well and good. You know what's more fun than breaching doors? Breaching a
Breaching
wall.
spaceships?
Yeah.
Oh.
Let me put some plastic explosives on the side of a wall and go through the little animation to shape it right, and then go through the wall where they're not expecting you to come in. That's what I want to do.
Very what's it called? Siege. Rainbow Six Siege.
Yeah, I want to violently rescue people from the other side of that wall. Hey, Parky, welcome to the chat. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for joining us.
That is a very cute dog. I assume that's a dog.
I can't tell if it's a dog or a
hamster
or a cat. It kind of looks
I
like a
don't
cat, but it
know.
also kind of looks like a
ferret.
husky.
I have no idea. You gotta tell us what that is.
Shiori,
that's a cat. Okay, so it is a cat. Okay.
It is a cat.
It is cat. This
Robert,
is not enough pixels. It's fine.
The other thing there are two main things that guide my thinking. One is that I'm a former infantry marine, and two, I'm a career paramedic and flight paramedic. I'm also a flight paramedic for the Army National Guard. So like that's the way my brain interprets things in two ways. Those are it. So if it's not relevant to that, I'm like, Nazeris, what does this mean?
All right. For AI, progress was made on Vandal-related gameplay, with the current focus on stealth gameplay sections and enemy executions of players. All the cat emojis. I love it. Interaction with non-sliding chairs create. Interaction with non-flying chairs, crates, rummaging, vending machines, data pads, and other life behavior sets progressed too. Development of the female Spec Ops continued, as we were just talking about, with female combatants close to implementation. Woot! Finally, oh my gosh, there's so many. I love it. That's amazing.
I feel like Jawa Sparky of Fist and Jawa just dropped in the chat with all his cats that he always has.
They're so cute. Look at them all. So squishy. For the facial animation, the team continued to work on scene-specific animations with named cast characters. Mocap and on-set facial services were also provided to the narrative team as they continue to flesh out the combat and flesh out the combat and story needs of the campaign. I can talk, I swears. And
I know they were talking about player stealth gameplay, but it kind of got me thinking. I wonder if the Vandal if there are non ultra violent stabby Vandal, like are there assassin Vandal, are there Vandal that are more tactician like do the Vandal have class systems kind of like we're used to, the heavy weapons guy, the sniper, the demolitions Vandal, or are they all just...
As far as I understand the lore of the Vandal, they're much closer to the Banu than to us. Because they deal in houses, in tribe houses. So we might only be fighting actually one house of the Vandal that decided that like we're in their territory given them by the other Vandal houses. So they might have like all agreed upon who gets to expand where, and we happen to be in this house's territory. So I would imagine that there's not a lot of assassin type Vandal. And they are much more, this is our house, we are the warrior, the base foot soldier kind of class. Based on just that's all we've seen. They've never talked about Spec Ops Vandal, Stealth Vandal, fighter pilot Vandal kind of thing. They haven't really talked about differentiating any specific Vandal out from just Vanduul. But we do know that they run in houses, and we don't exactly know who we're fighting.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting.
Vandal and
it is
Vandu
on...
might share an evolutionary ancestor, and we would never know because the Vandal won't tell us, and the Bandu didn't
the
write it
Bandu
down.
don't know. Great. That's so good. I mean, I doubt it because one's fish, one's what are Bandu? Bandu are tree, so probably not. And then it's back to you for art characters.
Character art. I love character art.
Like
So the character art and tech art teams prepared various new armors, worked on the subscriber program, and progressed with Stanton's Earth fashion outfits. I am interested and curious
where
to
they
see
renamed
what Earth...
that.
Well, they had
Like
high
what?
fashion,
Mm-hmm.
and we got high fashion, or at least they got part of the way through it. And I think the Earth fashion is probably something different.
You think it's a third Stanton set?
Oh yeah, well I think Earth fashion won't be unique to Stanton, because
It says Stanton's Earth fashion.
Okay, I don't know.
It's a third Stanton set.
Yeah, but I mean, you'll see it in Stanton, but you won't see it in Pyro. But I imagine the same Earth fashion set will be seen throughout the UEE. You know, because some people will be, because it just like the fashion sets, like Earth fashion just tells me that it's somebody in Stanton who's from Earth, and they're dressing how an Earther would, versus a Terra fashion set it won't just be people dressing like people from Terra in Terra when they go traveling and they're in Hadrian or Bremen.
Wouldn't that be just NPCs with Terra uniform or Terra fashion in Stanton, not Terra Earth fashion?
I don't know.
In Stanton.
That's the way I'm going with it. But I think it's different than the high fashion. I don't think it's the same as high.
I do think it's different.
Yeah.
But what was the other set? There was the high fashion set. There was another one, and then this Earth fashion. Was it Stanton Frontier? There was the Frontier outfit. That's coming up. There was the Pyro. There was the high fashion. I gotta go look it up. Okay, you continue. I'm gonna go look it up.
On the concept art side, further development was done on Frontier outfits, undersuits, and helmets, medical armor. Oh yeah, give me the special medical armor and creatures.
Big red armor.
Yeah. So creatures. I'm obviously very excited about medical armor. I've been running around in red and white armor sets to make my own medical armor for a long time, but I'm really looking forward to the differentiations between armor types for our profession specific armors, because they're doing the salvage backpack, and so I'm really looking forward to not only the armors but backpacks and equipables that are profession specific that interact with armor sets, to really make the player choice a lot more meaningful when it comes to what you wear. But that is all for character art. And see, you have to do the engine. Yeah, you have to do the engine bit, but you get to do ship art. So
I got all the nice ones this time. Hello, cat. Hello. You now blocking like most of my screen. Could you move? Thanks. Yep. Thanks. Yep. Thanks. Okay. Ship art or art ship, depending on who you want to say. In the US, the vehicle team took the Drake Corsair through final art and are currently putting the finishing touches on the wear and tint system. I assume that's for the Corsair, not separate?
Yeah, it's in the same paragraph.
Okay. Because I'm pretty sure the tint system was done when the Talon came out. I imagine this is putting the final touches on the Corsair in the tint system. Anyway.
Yeah.
They created new geometry for the exterior of the docking collar and took it to final art with the animations and lighting. Yeah, okay. Most of the team moved on to LEDs and the damage mesh. A quote from the vehicle team: "We are experimenting with a new setup system to trigger lights on the exterior of ships for specific states such as landing and using the lift to allow for a more dynamic landing experience. I forget who it was. It was the group right before me on Paul's cast. In the morning. So the one right before 3 o'clock. Anyway, they were like begging for something to turn off the exterior lights. They're working on that apparently. At least a system to change it. Additionally, support was also given to the Drake Vulture to get the Drake Vulture ready for release. Obviously, this is coming out with 3.18, so any day, any day.
Definitely more light modes. Landing mode. Flight. Forward flight or whatever. And they definitely need to get better with the undermount lighting, so that way you can see when you are landing and see around you, because the light a lot of the light
I think that they said
isn't great.
Yeah,
seizure inducing mode, disco dance
they
mode.
said not too long ago on SCL that basically all spotlights are going to get a polish pass on every ship, because there's something just off about them, and there's no consistency. It was just artists doing art things. So there's going to be like a polish pass to the whole of spotlights and things eventually. Where were we at? There we go. In the UK, Ship Art continued to work on the Argo SRV, which there is new shots up on the subscriber vault for those interested. We're just progressing through Greybox with only the habitation remaining. So Greybox, for those who don't know, is the middle. So first it's white box, where they kind of block out where everything goes. Greybox is where they start putting on the detail to the actual geometry of the ship. And final art is taking that gray box, putting on the final details, putting all the nice textures on it, and getting all of the lighting and texturing and geometry to the end state or final art. The final art pass on an unannounced ship was completed in preparation for its review this month. Not saying it's an AIE ship, I'm just saying it's a ship that might come out with AIE. A quote from the ship team: "We're very pleased with how this ship turned out. It was a great opportunity for us to push the workflow and visuals forward. For example, the exterior lighting state, better looking glass and glows on the exterior lights, new damage trims, okay, and new artwork for countermeasures." The ship team. Interesting.
They specifically mentioned countermeasures.
I mean, just playing with it, I imagine. Or it's a new countermeasures from a new person or species. I mean, an unannounced ground vehicle passed its final art, which I asked Roadmap Jake, if this was the Steve. He didn't say. He said he didn't want to discuss it in Discord, or at least in a public Discord. Normally they just tell us when stuff that is talked about is already out, so my belief, this is an unannounced vehicle. Or an unreleased vehicle at the very least. So,
yeah. This came out well before Steve. I think the unannounced ground vehicle is definitely the Steve, but the unannounced ship and the upcoming variant, I think, are definitely IAE ships.
Oh yeah.
Who knows what the variant could be. I'm hoping that it's a Valkyrie variant, just because the Valkyrie is my favorite ship. And they said way back when in the Valkyrie Q&A that they had explored numerous different variants, and the SAR variant is actually one of the ones they like the most. Not saying it would be a SAR variant, but any Valkyrie variant would be most likely an insta-buy for me. I mean,
what are they currently designing right now?
Oh, as far as manufacturers?
Yeah.
Well, they're definitely doing Drake and Argo.
And Crusader. And what ship needed to go through a new concept pass?
Well, they just had the Crusader concept, but as far as ships being built, it's Drake and Argo.
Well, what I'm going for is they do need to reconcept the Genesis, and if they just had another personnel transport come out, there's not a 0% chance it's a Genesis variant.
The Genesis got pulled from the Progress Tracker, though.
I know, but they still have to reconcept it.
Yeah.
Just saying, they could. It's just not zero. Is all I'm saying. It's not zero.
I don't think we are going to see the Genesis until we have another UE system for it to go.
Deltera, basically.
Yeah, and the other issue is, as much as I want Castra to be the next system, if they give us Castra, they'll give us Castra after Nyx. So Pyro then Nyx, and that means you'll have to go through Pyro, and then you can either go through Pyro and go the hard way through Pyro to Castra through the large jump point that is right next to Ruin Station, or you can go the less traveled route that is actually shorter in distance and go through Nyx, and then from Nyx to Castra. It's actually shorter that way, but I don't see people flying their Genesis Starliners through Pyro to transport people. I feel like the people who would take a Genesis Starliner would not take the Pyro route, no matter how bad the cost of flights goes up, on Delta.com or whatever it ends up being. But interesting bit of lore. Crusader owns
was it median?
the station.
What is it? Median something transport. Median transport is the Starliner company. Something like that. But no, probably. I would imagine all reputable person mover companies are not touching Pyro, and are advised not to go out of highly policed UE places.
On the little interesting lore bit, Crusader owns the station in orbit above Sherman, which is the landing zone on Cascom in Castra. They own it because they use it as a major hub for their Starliner network, aka it's like how different airlines have their own hubs where they have they have a lot of their servicing and their own hangars. Like I fly in and out of Salt Lake City all the time. Salt Lake City is a Delta hub. If you go to Dallas Fort Worth is a Delta. There's an American Airlines hub. I think Denver is a United hub. It's not just you look around the airport. There's a ton of their aircraft there. They have more influence, but they also have maintenance stuff there. And the reason they bought it is because it used to also be a station that was meant for servicing the capital ships, as well as it's where they had bomber squadrons stationed for a possible fight against the Xi'an. And so Crusader nabbed it up, and now it's basically a
Crusader really likes buying Navy surplus.
Yeah, and so to me, that's a giant hint that we're gonna get people moving. When Castra comes in, as far as like the airline thing in Star Citizen. If you look out to the right side of the Starliner, you will see Ruin Station, where we may be held for ransom during our flight. Yeah.
I hope your families have lots of money. Moving on, the Hull C, my favorite. The Hull C polish pass was concluded, so it's now up to snuff and ready for release. With all major bugs and improvements completed. Wow. So only minor bugs. The resource management pass on. They've basically said as much, so they just haven't said it directly. But they've mentioned the Hull C in 318 in the same sentence. That's all I'm saying. The resource management pass.
Yeah.
Yep. On the Aegis the Aegis Hammerhead continued with the new gravity generator room being added. Whole new room.
Do you think
no, they're not filling in the hole. No, they're not filling in the hole.
Where else would it be though?
Go back and watch the whatever show it was. I think it was an ISC where it might have been an SCL. Either one, where they went and showed you the interior and they had an X-ray view of the Hammerhead. Because they had to fit a second floor in there, there was so much empty space in that hull. Because they just basically took the shell of the ship that was supposed to be like carrack sized and just scaled it. So there's just so much empty space in that thing. It's ridiculous. It looks like a joke. And that's why a lot of people hate it. Because it was not supposed to be as big as it was, and there's no armory. So
add in a gravity generator room on the other side of the wall. You can put the armory there. It can go in the hole. Everything.
yeah,
will
you
be
could
great.
do a lot if you're filling in space, but I don't think they want to fill in space. I think that's just the way they want it to look.
John Crew. I blame John Crew.
I would too.
Yep.
Somebody somewhere got just that hole stuck in their head, and they just want that to be a thing.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I really want them to bring on more leads so that we can have more variety in final answers, and mostly so the endeavor can get done. Let's see. The team also began implementing the new component bays for the Hammerhead, which we saw also in Citizen. Work also completed on an upcoming variant of What They Do Not Say. And that is it for ship art. Back to you for community. What are your favorites?
I think both of those. I mean, we've got 2 unannounced ships that are done. They literally just said that they're done, and I think it's pretty cool that we have 2 unannounced ships that are most likely going to be released with 318. I definitely don't think they're going to hold them out past this quarter or in 318.
If you remember, a year or two, maybe even like 2019, they had stated, I think it was at a CitizenCon, that they want to move away from the selling concepts whole thing.
Yeah.
They much rather sell you release ships. They want to be, hey, look at this cool new ship. You want to buy it? Oh, by the way, it's in-game now.
But if we think about how many new ships we are getting in 318, the Vulture,
a lot,
the Corsair, unannounced variant, another unannounced ship that is not a variant, most likely the Hull C. Am I missing anything? Can you think of anything else?
There was another land vehicle. Vulture, Corsair, Hull C, this variant, a ground vehicle. I mean, technically we have the SRV or the STV now, and
yeah.
So I still count that as 318
5
window.
Brand new flyable ships in one patch. That is, I mean, even for IAE, that is unheard of. And that's just the ones I can think of right now. There might be.
That's not the ones they told us about. Not even the ones we think of. That's just the ones they told us about.
Yeah. Well, I mean the SRV isn't going to be in 318.
STV. I meant the STV.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying the Argo SRV is not going to be in 318.
Okay, no.
That's the other one that we know that they're working on. We know they're working on the Banu Merchantman. I can't think of anything else that we know that they're working on that we specifically know, especially that we know is well along. But still,
they'd say something if the Banu Merchantman hit Grey Box complete.
The Hull C is a large ship. The Corsair is a, I guess you'd call it a medium, ship. The Vulture is small. We don't know what these other 2 ships are, but we know that at least the unannounced one, not the variant, has an interior with a cargo bay. So, it can't be too tiny. Yeah.
See, actually, the Hull C still has like 2 months of solid work to go on it by the EU vehicle team.
Yep.
Salvage, vehicle support for squadron, unannounced, and unannounced.
I think that work is going to be all the, hey, it is going to go out into 318 for the PTU cycle, and they're going to be doing all the follow-up, because there's going to need to be a lot of bug work with the Hull C and the cargo factor and PES. Like there's going to be a lot of things that are going to get borked with that ship, and so I think they're keeping those people on there to track down issue council reports related to it, because I think they want the Hull C to do well. I think they want it to be have a good solid release and get the support it needs.
I think Tony wants it in too.
Yeah,
because what better test bed do you have of your economy than a flipping whole sea of cargo?
Yeah, I think that's the thing at CitizenCon that Chris Roberts was talking about, that Tony was trying to wrap up and get into 318. I think it's
more economy.
More economy. At least what are they called?
Virtual
Material.
AI.
No, like the what's the word for the things that you buy and sell? The commodities.
Commodities, yeah.
Okay, community. The team started the month with a follow-up comm link on Battle of the Bricks. I thought that was really entertaining. I enjoyed Battle of the Bricks, but I'm also a huge Logo fan. Detailing how players can link their own charity stream to the campaign. They then acknowledged 10 outstanding submissions to Ship Showdown Phase 1. Community invited players to join in with the Ship Showdown by launching the top 8 free fly, along with a referral bonus and the opportunity to fly the top 8 ships from the finals. The Ship Showdown's final 4 are Scorpius, Anvil Pisces, Crusader Star Runner, and Anvil Carrick, each qualified for a free limited edition paint and an in-game challenge coin from their manufacturer. The Anvil Carrick was ultimately crowned Ship Showdown 2952 champion and will receive an in-game model at a later date. The team then headed into Pirate Week, which included a Ninetales themed photo contest. Preparations for Digital CitizenCon 2952 on October 8th continued, including the release of the event schedule. Finally, for community, the team continued the Bar Citizen World Tour, visiting Orlando in the USA, Cheongju in South Korea, Paris in France, and Singapore. Thank you for the hospitality and the hearty evenings with my many new friends. Community team. It's pretty, that the picture that they show
is amazing.
Yeah. Look at all those happy people.
The only thing that tops that image is the one with the retribution.
Yeah. Yeah, that was in China, right? The giant retribution model.
I don't remember. I think so. I think you're right.
Just typing something in chat. Yeah, Robert Vos says, I don't think people understand the purpose of large hull series ships. You need a mission from brokers to take this cargo from A to B. Most people, especially after the wipe, can't buy enough cargo to fill the whole sea by themselves. Yeah,
that's the point.
Yep. Yeah, if you watch the quantum presentations, well, most of the first one, because it was mostly on the economy, with Tony Z, he's basically spelling it out for you that that it will generate contracts. This production node needs this much of this resource, and they're gonna buy it from here, over here, and generate a contract for you to go get it and bring it back. It's meant to work exactly how things work right now, in the real world. It's not, you're not going and buying and selling. You're not a commodity trader on the stock market and with your own.
Yes, it was the China one.
Yeah, transport trips, not traders. There will still be trading, but you're not going to be doing it with a whole C, whole D, whole E. You're a space trucker, space shipper.
Yep. And like the biggest thing with that is it brings cargo down to the level of bounty hunting, where there is no investment that you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
You basically have your ship, and you get paid for running a mission.
Yeah.
So it takes the problem, the biggest problem with cargo right now is that you're putting up all your money to then get, blown up or 30K'd or something along the way. With cargo missions, it turns into you have picked up a mission. If you blow up, the thing you lose is, the items you took with you, but not the millions of UEC and cargo you're hauling. That's on the other person and your insurance, but insurance isn't in yet. So you shouldn't be speculating your own cargo until way down the line after developing a reputation with all sorts of businesses and corporates.
And that's not to say that you can't use your whole C, D, and E to move your org's cargo. If your org, eventually when we're producing our own commodity type, commodities, that's for sure a thing. But the vast, overwhelming majority of whole work is going to be supporting, the needs of Quanta. Because Quanta are going to outnumber us 10-1, and they're going to be hungry. They're going to need clues. They're going to need clothes. They're going to need items. You know, Bremen Mills is going to be shipping boxes of cereal, for all the good little girls and boys all across the UAE.
And also, one of the things I want to use it for is humanitarian support. So when you hear of some attack somewhere, you bring in cat, stop touching things. They're going to need water. They're going to need probably hydrogen in mass quantities, medical supplies, and you don't have to fill your cargo up with one thing. You can do 30% water, 10% medical supplies, 10% toys. You can fill it up with several different things and just make a humanitarian run with it. And even like a lot of the outer systems, the outer what are they called, colonies, are not self-sufficient yet. I forget which one is the Canyon one. Still imports a lot of their stuff. So they're going to need regular large shipments of things. So that's what I plan to use my Hull C for, and Hulk D and E want to get it.
All right,
where are we at?
We are done with the community team, which means we are on to engine.
Dun dun dun. Oh, right.
Some of this was actually more understandable than others.
We've been reading these a while. You kind of catch on for some things.
Yeah, I've heard that.
In September, the physics.
Before.
Yeah, that one. Yeah. In September, the physics team refactored the Ray World intersection, as we've seen a lot talk in the past couple months. Verification requests are now verified when queued. The RWI API now also supports the named parameter idiom to prevent further mishaps in its use. I think there was a mishap. Whoops. An option was also added to RWI that allows sphere tracing against distance fields. Fields were done in the level export code to enable the reliable attachment of roped to other entities on the client. Is that like the roped? I don't know if that's the roped thing, or is it attachment file attachment kind of thing. I don't know.
I would go for the attachments, the way things get roped in. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. So basically, just parent. Anyway, on the renderer side, more progress was made on the Gen 12 transition. Here's a list of things they worked on: cube map backdrops, light beams, geome cache, geome specifically, not geome. It's a lumberyard thing. Silhouette rendering, water volumes, water reflections, and water caustics were ported over to Gen 12. So all your rivers are going to be looking mighty pretty. Let's see. Also, various editor tools are now run in Gen 12. Awesome to hear. Such as the character editor and mannequin. Last month's support for transition graphics or transient graphics passes saw further adoption uptake with lots more passes now using it. Great. One thing that's not in this monthly report is the use what you use thing. So I think they're done with that. Great. Oh, yeah. Code cleaned up. Let's see. Memory tracking for graphics passes was added. Nice. Gen 12 now supports texture anisotropy. I didn't look that up. I should have.
Anisotropy.
What? Yep, that. What does that mean?
I've always seen that in like game settings. The display settings. Before.
Of an object or substance having physical properties that has different values when measured in different directions. Abnormal shapes is what I'm seeing. Okay, that's what. Sure. All right. Let's see what we got. I lost where I was. Yeah, there we go. Material resource binding was refactored, and alpha blending support was added to the hologram shader. Nice. Always alpha support. Alpha is really important when talking with textures. Lastly, it says various optimizations were done to avoid redundant clears on the renderer targets and updates on past resources. The Gen 12 volumetric cloud rendering is complete after like 6 months of work. Finally done. Congrats, guys. Congrats. On the core engine side, the team added support for SYS calls in SIG profile, and frame time is now included in pack direction in SIG trace events. That's all lots of internal names there. I guess system calls in the SIG profile, then detection of SIG trace events. Which will allow for faster engine startups. Yay. Faster engine startups means more work gets done in the engine. As an optimization, the team also was able to remove entity-based network wake-ups. The remainder of the time was spent supporting Alpha 318 and the live persistent universe. That is all for the engine. Lots of Gen 12 just updates and bug fixes and just lots of good stuff, making everything faster. So back to you, Tree, for featured character and weapons.
All right. So for character and weapons features, let's scroll down a little bit. Throughout September, work continued on the underlying system for FPS devices. Devices, not weapons, not tools, devices. This involved including adding features such as timer and proximity triggers. Oh boy. And support for behaviors such as explosions and actor status effects when devices are triggered. This, for example, will allow the team to replace the out-of-date flashbang logic. So basically,
Wait, we had flashbang logic?
Yeah, it's been a long time. I don't remember that. But yeah, we're all sorts of different grenades. Flashbangs, smoke grenades. You could have. This is also talking about like deployables. So trip mines, the breaching charges. You could also have stun grenades, all sorts
electrical
of
grenades. Like basically, if there's a gun that does it, there can be a grenade that does it too.
Yep. But then you've got the timers and the proximity triggers is really cool too, because you could have it's not just the laser trip mine, but if somebody steps on the mine or proximity, it can be it could simulate like a magnetic device. So all sorts of really cool ways that they can make this work, and I can think of a lot of different examples for not combat devices as well. That would be really fun. The feature team also began prototyping the flow for restraining NPCs and other players. No, I'm not going to say
it. I figured you would. I figured you'd absolutely.
Yeah, restrain me harder. Which will be used when an enemy is incapacitated or surrenders. The player can apply wrist and ankle restraints to wrist and ankle. You're going to get hogtied. And ankle restraints to ensure the enemy is not able to recover and resume hostilities. So this is totally work for Bounty Hunter V2. And if you want to learn more about Bounty Hunter V2, go to my YouTube and you can watch it was a really detailed Spectrum Pulse that we did on Bounty Hunter V2, the work for it, how it's going to be designed. Did a lot of look at the second Tony Z Quantum presentation that showed a lot of work about how bounty hunting will work. Basically, Bounty Hunter V2 is important because it's not just the missions and making it so we can take in, bring them in warm instead of bring them in cold. But Bounty Hunter V2 relies on numerous backend services that are being developed for Quantum, not just for bounty hunting, but they are going to be a part of the Quantum simulation, and that's why Quantum is so important. It's not just the simulation. There's a whole bunch of services that tie into it, just like how they talked about with PES. They had to make 18 new services in order to make it work. Different backend services. Server meshing required 4 new services. Well, Quantum has a bunch of new services that are being built right now. Some of them, a good deal of them are already built or are nearing completion. That's why the CR was talking about Bounty Hunter V2 by the end of the year. Not going to happen, but likely Q1 319, because those services are so far along. So if you want to learn more, go watch the video. And go to my YouTube, give me a like and a subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Leave a comment in the comments. Helps the channel to grow, because if we can get it to 100 subs, then that means that the letters and numbers at the end of the channel go away and it just becomes Tree0311. Nice and easy to find. But that's where you'll find the Pathfinders podcast. That's where you'll find my lore equals gameplay segments. I'll be uploading gameplay streams there as well. Along with a few other videos that I'm working on. So, moving on. Of course, another player or NPC may come along and remove the restraint, but it is a small risk for those who want to avoid using lethal action. Features team. I wonder if we will be getting any AR markers for, not only, okay, hey, this is where my buddy is, but different AR markers that show they're incapacitated, they are subdued and restrained, they are wounded. Like, okay, this is my team and they're all green right now. Oh, this guy just went yellow because he took a tier 2 injury. This guy just went red because he's got a tier 1 injury. This guy's black because he's incapacitated and he needs to be revived. Or something like that. I think the AR markers would be cool, just because our suits should be able to communicate that information to each other.
And we see a little bit of that now when you go into a bunker, just not color coded yet. Yeah. So it's definitely possible.
Yeah. Colors and icons in order to communicate that information, I think would be really great.
Yeah, I think that would be on the player experience side, and they're working on that stuff.
Yeah, and back to you for gameplay features. This is
gameplay. Where are we at here? There we are. Gameplay features continued to support the release of Salvage Tier 0 along with 318. They made several quality of life plans for mining and loot generation that will be worked on after the release of 318. Both features will receive general balance pass, while the team is looking to improve multi-crew mining, for example, by adding benefits to using a mole over several prospectors. And they even talked a little bit, not too much, but very, very little bit about this when talking the ship show part of CitizenCon, because the next ship that they're looking at, or one of the next ships they're looking at, is a even bigger miner than the mole. So cool. Continued work on the resource and network feature, which involved gameplay features working alongside a vehicle to unify the way temperatures are cooled or controlled throughout ships, including the coolers that some ships carry. Yeah, including the coolers that some ships carry. The EU-based PU team began supporting their US counterparts on the cargo refactor that is shockingly late in the game, but as it approaches release, 4.3.18. 4.3.18, I'm going to say 4.3.18, because Disco basically confirmed on Twitter, because somebody was, complaining that obviously we haven't seen it in ISC, so it's been canceled. They've removed it. No, we just didn't get to it before the break. He said one of the first things, there's only 2 videos he mentioned. One of them was the refactor after they come back from break. So it is coming in 3.18. Don't worry, guys. Don't throw your hands up yet.
So
let's see.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you're not done. Wait, you are done. For the PU part. Before you go on to the Squadron 42 part, do you think the large miner will include a refinery?
No.
No?
No.
You think they're going to...
I hope not.
You think they're going to reserve that for the Orion?
Yeah, I think they're going to reserve that for the Orion. And also, it removes gameplay that otherwise is there. A mole probably can't satisfy a expanse that well. So if you're gonna, you have to make an entire fleet to use a or a couple of expanse ships. So a large miner and an expanse could do a lot better. Also, taking your hull back to whatever platform and dropping off in a refinery for they made an entire location for it. Not every ship should have one.
Yeah.
I think that's a very special
location
feature
for it, but they also have places like Pyro and Nyx.
That's true. But then the expanse
won't have. Yeah, exactly, expanse. Okay, so do you think we're going to get larger refining ships? Just refiners? Yeah.
Yes. I think there will be at least a large refiner, if not like a variant of something like could you a kraken that's a mining kraken.
Mm-hmm.
Its job is to like hook up to mining ships or even salvage ships because you also need to refine the stuff that comes out of a vulture.
Yeah.
So
I found it interesting that they said that the idea was for it to be able to also carry multiple gray
ground vehicles,
cat
yep.
rocks, which means that they would, you'd be able to, carry them, but then also unload them, And so I was like, I wonder if it would be able to unload them into a refinery and then put them into, bags or what have you. But yeah. I don't think that we talked about this, so we did a deep dive on the MISC Starfarer, or I think I did. That was a scanner anomaly, I think, on a previous episode of the Pathfinders podcast, and I'm pretty positive the MISC Starfarer isn't going to be refining anything but fuels. I don't think the Starfarer is
even
going
though
to be
the outcome of that was we have no idea what the refinery does.
Yeah. Now that we're getting the Expanse, I don't, I think it's the MISC Starfarer is going to be, at most Quantanium, and and of course gases. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they work that out, because I don't, you're not going to be refining metals and ores using the Starfarer just because they go into the containers that are meant to hold fuel tanks. So unless they make it full on modular and you can get rid of the fuel tanks and turn those into ore bags where your refined material could go, I don't see it happening. So we'll see. But the Starfarer has always been a fuel truck, essentially, fuel
Yeah, it is
production
possible
and
with
transport.
the redesign it does get, it turns into the large refiner. Possible.
Anything's possible.
Possible. All right. Squadron 42 feature gameplay. The SQ-42 feature team continued with their task for the armory, enabling weapons to be delivered to different locations. So, your person, your ship, your locker kind of thing. It now also has its own set of first select animations, which we heard about in CitizenCon, when the player interacts with the weapons for the first time. Oh no, just first select as in the first time selected guy. For the crane feature, this is the only time they mentioned the crane feature. We've never heard it before, and this is the only time they say it in this thing. The crane feature. The devs used inverse kinematics to link the player's hands to the joystick so they animate together. That's all they say about it. Right?
Do I get
they're
to
also adding
operate a
additional
crane
features.
on a space station and move a container over a Vandal and drop it on them? I want to squish a Vandal
such limited functionality for this feature.
With a 32 SCU crate.
OMG. Okay. First time we're hearing about it, they just talk about it like we already know what we're doing. They also add additional functionality for designers, such as snapping and locking. I think that's also to do with the crane feature. Further progress was made on the new Mobiglass, with the team finishing up the personnel messages app and implementing the first part of the mission manager app to show mission briefings. Nice. Dominion! Long time to see, bro. Let's see, and that's back to you for gameplay story.
All right, gameplay story. And let's scroll that back down. Alrighty. Gameplay story. Last month, Gameplay Story held a mocap shoot that captured a variety of data for several late game scenes. Once processed, this data will allow the scenes to function well in game. A new scene was also created by reusing existing wild lines, which will allow the player to speak to a medic and be healed by them if required. Awesome. Finally, for gameplay story, exploration was done on the mess hall scenes to make them function with AI animations so that all characters enter and leave smoothly. We've said this before. I'm going to say it again. That people gripe about the everything to do with the mess hall and the eating and the food. All that is because they want the experience on in the mess hall of the UES Stanton, and whatever other capital ships you are on, to be very and I hate to say it, but to be very immersive. If you played Wing Commander back in the day, essentially the social module was when you got back from a mission and you went to the bar on, oh gosh, what's the name of the carrier? Anyway, you went to the bar and you could click on the bartender and he could make you a drink and you could talk to him, and you could click on the other people in your squadron or members of the crew in the bar and talk to them and get what they say in the Navy is called scuttlebutt, the rumor mill. And so that's why they highlight this so much, is because when you get back from a mission, that's going to be the social module for Squadron 42. That's where you're going to hear what's going on with the operation and the overall mission. Oh, did you hear that Commander so and so said this, or that Chief so and so did that? All that sort of information is going to be the everything that goes on in between missions when you're in quantum en route to the next base. And it's like that because it's like that way in real life. I promise you. I've spent an inordinate amount of time on embarked aboard Navy ships, and the only thing to do is to go to the galley and hang out and talk and listen to the rumor mill and eat snacks. So yeah, and that's it for gameplay story, and we are back to you for mission features.
Right? Look at the wrong one. All right, mission features. Mission feature team began the month preparing for the go no go for Alpha 318 security post Correa rework. Let's see, infiltrate missions on the Origin platform and the new prison updates. Sweet, lots of new gameplay there. I keep forgetting how much is actually in 318. There's a lot in 318.
I think that when it releases to Evo and over the next couple of weeks, we're going to see multiple things added to the release view.
So many leaks.
Some of them that we expected, and some of them that we did not.
Yep, there is stuff that even CIG probably forgot to tell us about. There's so much stuff going to 318. There's always something that CIG's like, oh yeah, that's in too. There's always something. Yeah, well, no, there's the stuff that Jake has said, like, oh yeah, that's also, I forgot that was in here. And he's like, oh, let me just go back and put the there is stuff that they forget that is in here, like small things that like were a small addition but change a lot, kind of thing.
Well, and they do like doing that. Like they'll work on something, they won't tell us about it, and then be like, oh yeah, this was we decided we wanted to sneak this in.
All right, let's see. And a simple change to help prevent combat logging was also tested. Yes. With time being allocated for further work following the feedback. Yes. I'm hoping this is a 319 feature. I'm really hoping. If not 318, 319. Because combat logging.
Oh,
combat logging?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't personally get into a lot of combat, but I purposely don't do bounty hunting because of this. I don't want to come up against that, because that is worse than losing a caterpillar full of Laranite. It's just, you worked so hard to find them, you got in the dogfight, and they just log out. Horrible. No, not going anywhere near that. Let's see. Testing progressed well on the lessening of crime step 1 and 2 severity. Also, if that's not in 318, I hope that's in 319. But that may eke into 318, hopefully. Improvements were also made to help differentiate between trespass zones and an area controlled by unlawful hostiles. Cool. It means I'll figure out who controls the turrets when I go into a bunker. Significant progress was made on time trials. I don't know which time trials they're talking about.
For racing?
Yeah, I would imagine so. But is there mission racing in the game right now?
No, but I mean, maybe
Okay, well, there was
maybe they got assigned to doing time trials for the Gray Cat races. It's not just
possibly,
driving
possibly.
around, but like, okay, ready, set, go, and you have to time to beat.
I don't know.
Personal best.
Yeah, I don't know. This included improvements to allow the designers to create an infinite number of checkpoints of any shape and area with tools, or any shape with the area tool. Infinite number of checkpoints. How long are we gonna be racing for? I just can't wait for racing to be its own thing in the persistent universe, to where there'll be racing ships, racing sponsors and things. Just to have that as just flavor in the verse. Progress on investigation missions mentioned in last month's report, and with a quote from the mission feature team: "We feel we are ready to let narrative go wild and creating mysteries aboard a variety of ships and surrounding environments." That tells me they're a little bit farther than the pitch that we saw in CitizenCon.
Oh yeah. It's
So I think they
farther than
actually
the pitch, but I'm hoping that gets added to the progress tracker, like so it's actually something that we can watch.
I think they're actually much farther along than we think they are.
Or
Because this is
it might be
like
something that's unannounced.
possibly like the fact that the designers are, hey, the tools are here, make a thing.
Yeah.
Like that tells me like that's like I assume that's narrative and then back to a team to either implement or polish up or whatever. I don't think that's definitely a next year feature. And I was thinking like they just had the idea like a couple months ago and then there was a CitizenCon thing. No, this has been being worked on. Yet we both looked on the progress tracker. There's nothing about this on the progress tracker. Not in narrative, not in mission feature, nothing.
In fact, all quiet on the Western Front.
Yeah. In fact, narrative is a month and a half out of schedule because of the lack of downstream updates, because of the week we're skipping with Roadmap because of CitizenCon. So, fun stuff.
Maybe we will get another downstream update next week. That's a good point.
Dun dun dun. Foreshadowing. Also, work with the UI on redesign. There we go. Of the contract manager began in earnest. So we just mentioned the contract manager and how that has begun. Plans for the team's work up to Q2 2023 was proposed. I'm shocked they're doing this early. Even though it's not really early, it just Q2 2023 sounds like it's really far away. Including many new and long anticipated mission types. I'm excited. And that was the last one for that. So back to you for vehicle features.
That last sentence is very exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Rescue and transport mission. Okay. Let's see.
Cargo mission.
Okay.
Yeah. But also new missions. Like, what new? I mean, there's an investigation, so.
Okay. So, vehicle features. Last month, vehicle features focused on supporting the release of persistent entity streaming. This included work on the transit system, which received a significant refactor to cope with how things now stream. So all the trains, the trams, when no one's there, they get streamed out of the game with PES, and but they have to keep on working, but not in the game. Yeah, they're working in the ether after they get streamed out when no one's in in Area 18. So they've had to refactor that. Hopefully, with that refactor, it will make it so that we don't have like doubling up of trams, and some of the bugs where the doors don't open. I can tell you, I've been locked inside a tram, before multiple times.
Do you think that PES also will solve the new loading into a location standing army,
I think that is
or do you think that's not till server mission?
no. I think that's very likely though. Just because PES should do a much better job of saving state for entities, and NPCs are included in entities um, as they're streamed in and out. Because it should be more reliable than, oh, we're going to save this to memory, and unfortunately we have run out of memory, so instead of not saving it, we're just going to spawn in that NPC again at base state. Blizzard says Quanta should fix that, in my opinion. I do think that the
Sort of.
some of the
They
NPC
don't
services might be tied into that, but the PES, you do like that's all. Anything that gets streamed out gets streamed onto PES, and their state gets saved onto the entity graph. And then when they get streamed back in, the replication layer sends it out to the server and out to the client, in the state that it was saved. And so we should have a lot more reliable state saving with PES versus the cache system that is in memory on the dedicated game server, which is why the dedicated game servers are having so much trouble, is because they run out of memory and then they crash, or they run out of memory and they delete stuff and or pare it down.
Yeah, and just for like a little refresher course, you never see Quanta specifically. You only see
Subsumption
AI. When you don't see a previous subsumption AI, that's a virtual AI, but you never see a Quanta AI. So Quanta does not help previously seen NPCs.
Yeah,
like Tree saying, that's
behaviors.
Probably. Quanta is like the background behaviors.
It's behaviors and traits that are guiding those NPCs when we see them or when we're not seeing them. But the state that they are in, as in what they are wearing, how they are equipped, whether they're sitting, standing, because not only that, but their state gets saved. But when they get pulled out and then put back in, they might not get put back in the same spot. They're going to continue to go about their day, even though no one's seeing them doing it.
Yeah, and that's the biggest part of dynamic population, that feature.
But if they have moved around in Area 18, their state should stream back in the same way. Where was I?
Dynamic population has been done.
The team also spent time improving other older systems, including Tiles, the underlying tech system that connects objects to power and other resources. They also reworked, so that's definitely for the resource management. They also reworked the aiming and gunnery system, which received upgrades for future releases to simplify and improve things. I wonder what they're doing for that, because I feel like, for me, turrets are a ton of fun, and when I can remember the dang keybinds, work really well. But
it might be server side.
Yeah, it could be.
Simplify the code used for it.
Yeah, simplify it. Oh, okay, so maybe gunnery for NPC vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. For example, making weapons significantly more accurate and reliable in vehicles. I don't know if I need that. I don't think the NPCs need help killing me.
They do currently.
Yeah. Well, it just depends on the server. For new systems, the team worked on the EUPU team's resource network, converting vehicle systems to utilize the new implementation and updating all item behaviors. So yeah, they are already well underway for the resource network system, not only for the ships that they are getting ready, should be implementing it with shortly, the Hull A and the Hammerhead, but they are also getting they're also working on the systems that the other ships that will be converted over and brought into it. how they work, getting the getting ready of the work before they are actually physicalizing the components and the relays and such. They also progressed with features driven by the needs of Squadron 42, most notably the ship MFD system, sweet, which has been fully planned out and designed and is currently being implemented in game.
Nice.
So yeah, they game vehicle features. They're working on the MFDs. Using the building blocks UI system now in order to get those updated, have them be more performant and have more features. And I think we're on to you for graphics and VFX programming, right?
And Planet Tech.
And Planet Tech. Yay, Planet Tech.
All in one. All right. Work on edge highlight rendering code was in support of FPS scanning of included objects was completed. That we saw in CitizenCon as well. This involved creating a new render to texture layer used exclusively for augmented reality rendering, which will be used for all AR in-world UI rendering going forward. So, you want to know about AR stuff? There's some AR stuff. At the request of the UI team, the graphics team investigated the possibility of using D3D/Vulkan's anti-aliasing line rendering for rendering wireframes on UI meshes. However, they decided to go with a shader-based approach using tessellation hardware instead due to performance issues in the drivers. So maybe we'll get back to that when drivers are better. The team also began looking into improving and unifying the all-resource streaming systems. These systems are not the resource system of the ships. This is resources of hardware and RAM and things like that. With the goal of simplifying the code while allowing more intelligent use of available memory so that they can adapt to the different scenarios across the game. So that the hardware can adapt to the different scenarios across the game. Work on ultra high resolution screenshot output was completed for the marketing team. Can we have the ultra high resolution screenshot output, please? Kindly, CIG. I don't like that. Could be Ansel, but it also could not be Ansel. Either way, can I has it? Can we has it? Can forgot his name. I know it starts with an H. Mr. Screenshot. Forgot his name. Haskaha. Can Haskaha have it? Give it to Haskaha. Let's see. VFX programming continued to work on the damage map feature for the salvage. Mechanics salvage feature, adding support for vehicle debris and bug fixing. So vehicle debris is having salvage feature. There we go, and fixing bugs. The Planet Tech team are in the process of delivering Rastar V1, a final release version of Rastar V1 for the internal team, not for us yet. October's tasks included bug fixing and usability improvements to better support production requirements. Also improved the river tech for 318. Awesome. Actually, we saw this in ISC not too long ago with the new river stuff they've been doing. With several bug fixes and a new spline system to better match complex topology curvatures. Finally, they made fixes to the Gen 12 rendering of planets ready for 318 as well. And that has been the graphics and VFX programming and Planet Tech teams. Now back to you for the lighting.
What Rastar looks like. We've seen what procedural location tool looks like, in use.
Mm-hmm.
And they have shown us them using Rastar for outposts and derelicts and how they make them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping that they will show us how they're going to use Rastar for cities.
I hope so. When they make a city with Rastar, I can't wait to see it.
Yeah. Because if they're going to be using Rastar to make cities, not just the settlements and towns and outposts and derelicts, yeah, that'll be super cool to watch, but B, the potential as far as development goes is pretty substantial. Not gonna lie.
And gameplay. Don't forget gameplay.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
Can I build a city?
No, you may not. Everyone else can. Nazeris.
Oh, okay, I see.
We're not going to let you.
I see how this is.
We have to have limits and boundaries, and that's where we draw the line.
Just me. Okay.
Yeah. For lighting continued work on Pyro's ruined station throughout September. What's interesting to me
Mm.
is last year. I want to say it was early in 2021 is when early mid 2021 is when they had a separate deliverable for ruined station
Mm-hmm.
on the progress tracker, and they removed it, due to priorities, this and that,
Uh-huh.
and it has been worked on and mentioned in the monthly reports for the last 2 months. Um, Prior to that, they have only said pyro stations, and we only have pyro space stations, the deliverable, on the progress tracker, and the pyro space station specifically mentions, the small rundown, rest stop style stations,
Mm-hmm.
not ruin station. So I wonder if they're going to re-add the deliverable, or if they're just going to keep updating us on the monthly report. I think I need to ask Jake about that,
Hmm.
because the stations that they showed us last year, that was not ruin, and the station that they showed us in the Outlaw update at CitizenCon looks an awful lot like the stations that they showed us last year, just much farther along. And because they didn't say anything during that presentation, and a lot of people are already assuming that it was ruined station, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
how do you know this ruined station? They didn't say if it was ruined station. It doesn't look that much different than the stations we saw last year, and the ones we saw at CitizenCon, that was like only a few months after they removed the deliverable, that hadn't even started from the progress tracker. So I'm assuming that the station we saw was not Ruined Station, and I think Ruined Station is going to be much more different and bespoke than the other ones the other one that we've seen, or ones that we've seen. Um, because so they did, and you'll talk more about it in the locations bit, but
Mm-hmm.
lighting continued work on Pyro's Ruined Station throughout September. Obviously, it's going to need a ton of lighting work. And I imagine they'll be working on Ruined Station, right up until Pyro releases. They also completed the necessary lighting passes on the updated security post Korea, working alongside the core development teams to push it to final. I am very much hoping that security post Korea isn't the only security post. Why do we only have one police station in Stanton? Why are there not multiple security posts scattered throughout Stanton? I'm hoping.
Well, Korea is the only space one.
Yeah, but I'm hoping they will make more space ones, and that this is like the proof of concept. This is because like I think for Jumptown, you're going to have to take the drugs that you confiscate if you're a lawful player and take them to security post this and that. If you get a bounty, you can take them to security post Korea, or other stations, other like stations or landing zones. Maybe they could make a underground facility that's a jail, or maybe you can take people directly to Klesher. Who knows? But I'm hoping that because a lot of people have said that, well, now if they're the only place you can hack your crime stat is Security Post Korea, I think that they're going to test it there. But I think I don't think it's a good idea for it to be the only place to do that. And I think that we should have at least one security station for each planet, or for each planetary system. Microtech, Crusader, Lorville, or Hurston, and Arcor, if not more than one. Robert Vose says, I think every planetary defense group should have a station in orbit of the planets or moons to house the security force. Yeah, like Security Post Korea seems kind of small, but it would make sense to have a lot of PvP law enforcement coming and going from each one of those. Like that's where they spawned from, where they return to. If you're doing a crime, and that they're going to be responding to said crime once it gets alerted from this location, and you're doing it over here, you can sort of guesstimate, okay, I have this much time before they might show up. Like, to me, that's kind of cool, and
Yep.
it makes it far more realistic. Robert Foes also says, it is also so far from some of the planets to go there to remove your crime set. Yeah, all the way to flipping Crusader.
It's a half an hour flight for some people.
I do think it's one of those things where they're introducing this in a limited fashion at first, and Cromtac just donated $50 to StackUp.org. Cromtac, you are a mad lad. Thank you so much. So that is our very first charitable donation for the channel. Yeah, and I feel terrible because I don't have like all my emotes and sound alerts, because I'm gonna get them plugged in for whenever someone donates, so we can all just go nuts. But 07, good sir. Round of applause for Cromtac donating to a worthy cause. I appreciate you, Cromtac, and you will go down in history as the very first donation on the Tree0311 Twitch, and it happened on the Pathfinders podcast. Yes.
Yeah, definitely fun.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Cromtac. I really appreciate it. That's every little bit helps, and it's really gonna help veterans like me out there. Also, if you don't follow Stack Up on Twitch, I highly suggest it. They do a lot of fun gameplay streams and different events. They're always putting stuff out, so they're a very interesting organization to be a part of. And I'm not a part of them. I just want to support them, and because I have been impacted by their work. My unit received a care package from Stack Up while we were in Afghanistan in 2019, 2020. So we made good use of it. It was a good time. It definitely helped
Nice.
when COVID broke out and we all got put on lockdown. Loads of fun. Yeah. Oh, my heart is full. My heart is full.
Nice.
I'm going to clip that for later. Lighting also fulfilled requests for footage that will also be used in an upcoming event. I don't think that they're being so vague as not saying IAE. I think we are getting a new event in this quarter. We just because I don't think we're just going to be doing Ninetales Lockdown and Siege of Orison, over the holiday break. I think we're going to get a new event, in December post IAE.
Wait till after the next subject.
I'm excited. Because I literally only have I have to go back to work next Tuesday.
Oof.
And so I have a 4-day shift starting on Wednesday. I think that I have to travel back on Tuesday. But then after that, I have 1 4-day rotation in November and 1 in December.
Nice.
I'm gonna be getting my Star Citizen on a whole lot. You're gonna be see a lot of Tree0311 on Twitch.
Nice.
And I think that is back to you for locations, right?
Yep.
Oh,
Now, so
yay.
I'm trying to tell you, wait a second for your predictions there. Focus on pirate progressing with art and design of Ruin Station. They also developed several areas. This is a list of the areas. Security Post Korea. An upcoming event space. So yes, we're getting into event space.
Ooh.
Which that was where the lighting, that has to be where the lighting is being applied to. Whatever that upcoming event space is. New upcoming event space. Not a new event, but new event space specifically. Let's see. And older landing zones. So some location work is being done to older landing zones. Also adding new animations to bring them further to life. So bringing older landing zones further to life with something that location is doing, that EU location is doing to animate old landing zones. I'm kind of stumped on that one. That's everything for locations.
Yeah.
Huh?
Siege of Lorville soon too.
No, it's called the Liberation of Lorville. Liberation of Lorville.
Are sure isn't talking about the event that can be launched at Security Post Korea. Could be. I don't. Did they mention
They
a
wouldn't.
specific
They wouldn't say
event?
two different places. There's the Security Post Korea, and an upcoming event space. So
Yeah.
they wouldn't put them as different bits.
Although I mean, it could be tied to Security Post Korea. The event could
I mean,
span multiple
possibly.
locations. And Security Post Korea might
Sure.
just be the only one they're telling us about. I'm curious about what they're doing for older landing zones. I wonder if that has to do with the bounty hunter stuff where they're talking about bounty drop-off locations, and where you pick up the bounty missions themselves that they've talked about.
Oh yeah, the banning office. Yeah. Or also said there is another. There is a comma and an upcoming. Yes, there is a comma. There is a comma. Is Korea, comma, and upcoming event space.
Yeah, not and. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so. Let me read exactly what they have printed. They also developed several areas, comma, including Security Post Korea, comma, an upcoming event space, comma, and older landing zones. I forgot the name of that stupid thing.
Yeah. I don't think they're talking about
And new
Security
animations.
Post Korea as the event space. They could be, but who
Semicolon.
knows?
Hashtag.
Yeah, because well, and the other thing is they've been kind of vague about upcoming event, and so
they're always vague about upcoming events.
Yeah,
but it's a new event.
Yeah, I don't think they would be vague about it and then tell us all about Security Post Korea. But
yeah.
I think they would have been vague about Security Post Korea as well if we were getting an event that's centered specifically around it. But I wouldn't be surprised if it tied into it, like because like this is Security Post Korea right here, and you're delivering drugs, and I guarantee you that that's going to be tied into Jump Down. So, Robert, you're not wrong. The language is a little bit. It could go either way. I think. I'm hoping for more. Another space. Yeah, well, you could be taking drugs to there or taking drugs from there. Like with Jumptown, with Jumptown, you know how you take the drugs from Jumptown, and if you're a lawful person, you're supposed to be turning them in. There's the turn in. Yeah. But I'm sure that pirates will be raiding there in order to get the drugs back and sell them, make money.
Yep. And then you got level design.
Oh yeah, that's a Squadron 42 one.
Yep. Exclusively Squadron 42.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Did we? Okay. Yeah, the narrative is after. Okay, got it.
Yep.
Level design. Last month, the flight team progressed towards getting a large part of the game fully playable. This is like the fourth or fifth monthly report in a row where they have made statements like this. Yep. Fully playable, vertical slice quality, all that. Then they have, this is a recurring theme for, almost half a year now. Yeah. But if you're wondering, this is not related to the Squadron 42 leak that came out recently. That is actually from last year. We don't know when last year, but it's actually from an internal review meeting last year where they showed.
I would imagine it's actually cutting room floor footage from the visual teaser.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it's stuff from the visual teaser. We saw a lot of that stuff in, was that 2019, right? End of 2019. Not going to go into spoilers right now. If you want to, see that or know more about it, we do harbor leaks in my Discord. I'm actually planning on doing a live recorded diatribe, not on the leak itself, but on one small piece of it and the lore surrounding it for lore equals gameplay. So
Nice.
keep an eye out for that, because I found a whole bunch of really interesting information for a piece of it that we talk about and we're very curious about in my channel. So stay tuned. Not tonight, though. Yeah, so level design. Last month, the flight team progressed towards getting a large part of the game fully playable with functioning systems and mechanics. Man, with a focus on a seamless experience. A large part. Following on from previous month's reports, September saw them expand this work beyond the first third of the game. Okay. Letting that sink in. The social
That is
team
actually, I didn't actually like comprehend that the first time I wrote that.
I do that a lot.
So they're not saying that it's done over a first third. Let's make that clear. It is not 100. It's not gold for the first third. They're just saying that it is a seamless and a very complete, not complete, but a very complete portion of the first third, and they're moving on to the second third of the game.
Fully playable. Yeah.
So
fully
that
playable does
what
not
that
equal gold standard, but fully playable means all
Right.
the mechanics and everything is in there functioning. It might not be fully polished.
At least in a white box.
Yeah.
So there's still stuff to add, there's still stuff to polish, but that means QA can really get to work on it.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have like your traversal and your ships and your AI all working in a level design, you can really like, what if I hide behind this corner? What if I throw a rock over there and hide behind this corner? You can really start really pulling the different strings of how the entire systems feed into each other to see where the edge cases are, where it breaks, where it doesn't do so good, where it glitches out a bit. So having a third of the game in this seamless, playable experience, QA's got a lot of work now.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. I would love and hate to be them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm so tired of playing this art right now.
You get to play Squadron before anyone else.
Yeah. The social team focused on several chapters, including the ongoing scene work on the Idris and Stanton interstitials. I wonder why they worded it that way.
Because there's more than one Stanton, or more than one Idris.
Yeah.
I mean, you saw the leak. You know the shots that were in it.
Yeah. And what
specifically the last one.
Mean? I don't know what interstitials means. Do you know what they? So I know what interstitial means when it comes to medicine and anatomy, but not when it comes to spaceships. So,
of an ecology of minute animals. I don't know what minute animal living in spaces between individual sand grains. I don't think that's it. Between sand grains.
I'm not sure, including the ongoing scene work. So it's the social team, interstitials. I wonder if that's just a word for like the living spaces.
You know, no, like I think what it is, it's the time between missions. I think what they're trying to say.
Oh God,
time between missions.
That makes sense. Yeah, I'm done.
Okay, with the $50 words here.
Yeah. Calm down, CIG. This is a 4-letter word stream.
But it's weird how it's worded, including the ongoing scene work on the Idris and Stanton interested. I don't know.
Yeah.
I couldn't give you definite on any direction
curious. On that. This involved implementation addressing feedback and handshaking NPCs from scenes into behaviors. They also started shift assignments for the Idris's 80-person crew, including the deck crew, bridge crew, engineers, and off-duty personnel. So
one thing I'd like to point out.
Oh, go ahead.
Is the handshaking NPCs from scenes to behaviors. How many games do you know of, off the top of your head, that your cutscene and then you have NPCs in random locations doing completely different things? This game handshakes the NPC from the scene into gameplay. So they're doing what they were supposed to be doing. It seamlessly transitions from this cutscene into what they were doing into gameplay.
Yeah, it's not all awkward.
Yeah, it's not like they were talking up in front of you. Now they're like battle ready, standing next to you. It's like you were over there.
Did I have a stroke? Did I black out again?
Did I black out? I gotta stop playing this game, man.
I need to go to bed.
Yeah, so I'm really like the quality bar. Like we don't even know how high the quality bar is. Just based on their words, the quality bar is so high for this game.
Mm-hmm.
Like the walk and talk stuff. That's just.
The other interesting part is the 80-person crew, because a lot of people thought that the Idris crew isn't that big. What the heck? Where'd that come from? No, that was what we were seeing is like your minimum crew. This is a fully crewed UE
military
Navy ship with like 3 shift rotations. So it's not just the skeleton crew. There's this many people for this many stations and jobs. No, you need 3 of them because there's 24 hours in a day.
Yeah. So the max crew, and remember, there's a reason I call it the Matrix of Lies.
Yeah.
So on the Matrix of Lies, it says max crew is 28 persons. So but remember, it's the Matrix of Lies. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 28 times 3, 60. It's 84. So, yeah, and 84, and that's probably including officers. So, yeah. Matrix of Lies. That damn thing has been less than helpful. Putting it mildly, my friend.
You should only use the Matrix to as much as you would, shoot a bow and arrow blindly in a crowd of people.
Mm-hmm.
That's how much you should use it. That's how accurate it is.
It's crazy. Yeah, I'm not gonna use my real language here. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's someday it'll all be tied to what's in game, and when they change stuff that's in game, it'll all get changed there automatically. But for now, we just have to deal with it.
Yep.
Level design. They also kicked off tasks for some cross-discipline chapters involving FPS, flight, and social. Those will be the really fun ones. Level design made good progress on the social-related content, with the majority of their assigned scenes being ready for implementation. It's always essential to see the scene playing out in situ so we can review and assess what additional work could be required. Level design team. Back to you for narrative, yes?
Dun, 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 dun. All right. After putting the finishing touches on their work for AIU 2952, the narrative team progressed with many of the initiatives stated last month, including mission work for 318 and beyond, in addition to the text players see in the contract manager on the screen as objectives. They also work closely with design on the terminals and kiosks that players interact with, and a quote from the narrative team. Anyway, it's important that the screens not only clearly convey their function, but provide a very long word. They're a stimulant? Why are they for how they are supposed to be used in lore?
Verisimilitude.
Look that up in a second. Which can be tricky to balance the narrative team. Somebody looked up a dictionary. The narrative team also assisted with planning future improvements to the contract manager, MobiGlass app itself, to make it more robust and player-friendly, and a player-friendly experience. They also began discussing upcoming work to continue improving the new player experience and help players better understand the nuances of playing Star Citizen when they first enter the verse. September also brought with it new content to the website. They also published Star Watch Booty Call story and the portfolio for Cousin Crow's custom crafts, as well as members of the narrative team made a special appearance on SCL to answer some lore questions. Let's look up that horrendous word.
While you're doing that,
Verisimilitude.
That was loud. Verisimilitude. Ow, that was loud. Why is it so loud? How did
Oh,
it
wait,
get
no,
there?
you've still got narrative for Squadron 42. Yeah.
Do I?
Yes.
So I do. So it's verisimilitude.
Back to work.
Appearance of being true or real. All right. September saw the narrative team prepping for a performance capture session. The build up to this shoot included working closely with design team to determine a streamlined version of the FPS wildline set. This will allow the various enemy combatants to have enough lines so that they can be reactive without adding so many as to cause undue stress to the amount of content that would need to be captured. This shoot also included the return of several established characters for additional pickup lines based. I don't know why my throat's been weird. Based on changes to their location and level flow. Quote from the narrative again: "There are several additional fun bits that were captured, but unfortunately, they will be kept under wraps, and at least until we get the actual documentary that they've been working on for the development of Squadron." Narrative also continued working with AI content on the dynamic conversation system for background characters and began figuring out how best to incorporate it into the game. Finally, they continued the ongoing syncs with the flight and FPS design teams to review the latest level developments. Dun, 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 that's it. So now you get interactables, the 1.5 sentences that's there.
Yes.
No, it's just one.
The Interactables team spent time closing out some of their consumables work for Ruin Station and worked on various marketing assets that will be in players' hands soon. Marketing assets. Do you think they mean like subscriber stuff or
Oh,
I don't know.
marketing assets. Yeah, because this is interactable. This is like props team.
Yeah. We haven't had, what interactables?
I don't know what a marketing prop is.
Well,
I have no idea.
if it's an interactable, to me that just means at least you can interact with it, and it doesn't have to have a function, but like the in-game plushies would be an interactable.
Plushies, the coffee pot,
Yeah.
Trophies, yeah. So they could be subscriber flare, but the more they say subscriber flare,
or they're probably not sub stuff. It's probably just things that you can buy in game or things that you can find.
Well, something that marketing wants.
Yeah. Various marketing.
So that's
assets.
interesting.
Yeah.
That's vague and interesting.
It is. Back to you for QA.
QA, one of my favorites, because they are so important to the entire project, as they are in most video games. They are the front line and the people that have to stress the most about bugs. That and the engineers who have to fix the bugs. QA recent focus on the persistent entity streaming related testing. They also the PU content teams also tested all 318 deliverables, providing continuous assessments for each feature and one final assessment before the official feature review meetings. So these are like the biggest teams for getting you your 318 plus. Because these guys are the guys that have to go and figure out the bugs that they're having before we can release it. So again, but hopefully we're getting 318 Evocati tomorrow, and heck, maybe they'll just do wave 1 by the end of the week. Doubt it, but possible. And then back to you for tech animation.
Okay. Is there anything on tech? Yeah, there is. Okay, cool. Start with the PU part. So tech animation, tech animation saw animation progress with the face scanning initiative mentioned in last month's report, which aims to add more heads to the game's gene pool. That'll be nice to have more character customization
They already did
options. No, they wanted to add a whole lot. So I mean, they've probably been working at it for a while.
Because we got some more.
Yeah,
Anyway.
we got some more. They are doing, but I think this is going to be going on for a while. The initial scan session saw an extra 20 female heads scanned, which are currently being processed by the art teams. Nice. That's going to add a lot more variety. And that should mean more variety in NPCs as well, not just for player characters.
Yep.
Tech Animation will then rig and implement the assets into the engine. Alongside this, the team explored and refined their methods for implementing geometry caches into the engine and Maya's deformation technology. We have some exciting developments with some of our elements in game that will take them to the next level of visual fidelity. Interesting.
Maya deformation is that soft body thing you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, I like it.
Blowing holes in walls.
Yes. When life closes a door, breach the wall.
I like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a patch that I have on my chest rig. Tech Animation also assisted in the creation and implementation of new enemy types that are being worked on by other feature teams. I'm going to read that one more time. Tech Animation also assisted in the creation and implementation of new enemy types that are being worked on by other feature teams. New
Yeti.
enemy types.
Yeti, Pyrocrap.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think that is definitely leaning more towards creatures than it is just different, types of human NPCs. So
They would say NPC. They're not saying NPC. They're enemy types.
yeah, things that want to eat you, not just kill you. And it's back to you for Online Services Montreal.
Woot, Canada. In September, the online service team gathered in Montreal with members flying in from Portugal, New Jersey, Toronto for a week of planning. I just want to make sure I said Toronto correctly. They also prepared for 318's Eva Kali release. Remember, this was last month's review, which included bug fixing services, deployment, testing, and debugging the new login flow process. I wonder what's giving them so many problems. They also progressed with several features needed for persistent entity streaming, and Alpha 318 including how shards handle crashed states, transactions, and anti-cheat, and account resets. Finally, for online services, they tracked down and fixed a long-standing bug that prevented players from being able to refuel or restock munitions at landing pads. People will be so happy to hear that. That has happened so many times for so many people. And then you get live tools, Montreal.
Yeah. The live, and this is a short one, but we love tools here, and so when it's a short one, we get that. The live tools team finished integrating the new module dedicated to seeing infractions committed by players. They also worked on design improvements for Hex. New module dedicated to seeing infractions committed by players. I imagine that is part of the work for Bounty Hunter V2, because that
I think it's something a little more IRL than in game.
Oh, yep, live tools. My bad. Yeah.
Yeah. This is like banning offenses.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we need that even more because man.
Yep. I think if you watch Buster's Twitter, you'll know.
Yep.
Yep. Need in-game reporting tool. Please and thank you. UI. Yeah. I'm shocked we don't already have it, but they've had a really chill community so far. It's just now that it's becoming bigger and people are getting worse as the general terrible populace shows up.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. Anyway, the UI team continued their ongoing work on the star map. I wish it was concluded. Last month, adding new tech to allow them to create interactable holo volumes using the UI system. Sweet. This provides an extra flexibility without having to rely on the content teams if they want to add a 3D holo volume to the game. Also very nice. Bringing up teams to do things they want to do. As well as being used on the standard ship radar, this will Yeah, this will make it possible for large real-time holospheres on capital ships in the future. Sweet. In preparation for 318, they also closed out the remaining persistent-related UI code that uses loadouts. Cool and cool. Onto the squadron side of UI. The UI team undertook a significant code push on the star map and radar to get many of these separate elements pulled together. As part of this, they added new tech to allow them to create and interact with holovolumes. So very much the same thing, just kind of different word, which will allow them to get new versions of the radar into ships. They also fixed any unexpected glitches along the way and improved the visuals. The art team continued to concept out various parts of Squadron 42's specific UI. Boo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Okay. This involved finalizing the look and content of the new MFDs. Sweet. Designing gameplay screens for levels and completing vehicle style guides. And then you got the final one for VFX.
I'm really hoping that with this next season of ISC, they give us some more of all the UI work that they teased. Was it this? When was it that they showed the player like walking into that thing, and then it was all the stuff around them? Was that like back in July or June?
It was either the last month or the month before the card system.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, it was
Gosh,
either
I wanna
July.
see more
Well,
of that.
July,
That was
August, or
looking so
September. One of
good.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah, card system is amazing. I love it. I want to see everything in card system.
Oh, run 1 minute ad break. I just pulled up my creator dashboard.
Ah.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't realize I had control of that. I thought those things just
You
happened on
had
their own.
so if you run an ad break, it pauses ads for like 30 minutes.
Oh, okay.
So instead of it happening naturally, like you can have a break in your stream, like, hey, you're going up to go to the bathroom, you play an ad.
Aha. Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I pulled up the creator dashboard because when we get done here in a little bit, I want to set up a raid for someone else because Buster totally hooked us up, and I'm really thankful for all the people that have joined us and stuck around while we go through the monthly reports. And we are almost done. So for
One team to go.
VFX, last month saw the continued prototyping of the Quantum Travel VFX rework. So we saw I think that's going to, as far as the VFX aspect, I don't think we got to see too much of that when they did that was very more the function, not the aesthetic of it.
But there was new effects there.
Yeah,
just because it was a new.
It was just very early. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pardon me. With a focus on refractive elements to emphasize the forming of the hull-hugging bubble while a ship's drive spools up. I'm really looking forward to seeing this. I think that it'll look so cool, and with Gen 12 coming in 318, I'm hoping, because I don't know about you, and if anyone else is in chat is experiencing this, I'm assuming I'm not the only one. The transition in and out of Quantum is really rough. Like massive lagging frame drops.
You get a couple seconds of pondering, am I about to explode?
Yeah, is a game crashing, especially around planets. It's not as bad as it was in 316. With the updates they did in 317, it is more performant, but it's still it's real rough. And so I'm hoping this will address those issues while also looking really cool. Salvage effects were also continued with visual balancing to allow the best possible read to help players understand what's happening throughout the whole stripping gameplay loop. A new vehicle had its VFX pass completed, and 2 other vehicles entered VFX production after the completion of their pre-production phase. Interesting. Finally, various bugs and tweaks were made to the new derelict locations, as well as some miscellaneous fixes for other areas of the game. VFX for Squadron 42. Alongside onboarding several new starters, the VFX team continued to support the art, design, and cinematic teams with environmental effects and destruction sequences. Oh yes, give me destruction. Let's make it go boom and look cool. Finally, work began on a slight overhaul of the particle libraries to make them easier to maintain as the team spreads across the many varied locations. And that is it for the combined Star Citizen, PU, and Squadron 42 monthly reports, and we are just under 3 hours. I just, again, want to thank Cromtac, if you're still in here, for the $50 donation to stackup.org. I cannot thank you enough, for being my first donator and for donating such a substantial amount. It's just, super phenomenal. Mad lad, and or lady, I don't know. Sorry,
Person.
Mad person. You are insane. And thank you we still have 20 something viewers right now. And we have been, as high as I think 30 when Buster rated us. We've been consistently in the mid-20s, which is the most that I've ever had on my channel. And so for all of you who are here, I just want to say thank you for joining us and hanging out with Naz and I and our regulars and being a part of this. Really appreciate you hanging out and giving us a watch and a listen, and being a part of the community. Hopefully I'm not overreaching, but I would really appreciate follows for Nazeris and I on our different channels. Likes, subscribes, and follows. It really helps our content to grow. It costs you nothing, and I hope that you will join me in my Discord so we can continue the conversation. Nazeris is in there. I'm in there. A lot of the regulars that you've seen are in there. We have a lot of good things. We talk about a lot of good stuff, and I'm putting a lot of content in there. We're going to be doing co-op game nights. I'm going to be starting a book club channel in there where we'll be sharing suggestions for books to read, audiobooks to listen to, and discussing our favorites. Blizzrad is one of our mods. He is the man. We're a big fan of Blizzrad. And so he is almost always available in there if you ever have questions or need help. That's why I promoted him to moderator. And but yeah, Nazeris, why don't you go ahead and plug your stuff one more time, and then we'll sign off.
All right. As I said at the beginning, I do most of the YouTube stuff. So every week on Tuesday, a Little Big Planet thing comes out until we finish all the Little Big Planet games. And every Friday is a Space Engineers video. Currently going through, and we're starting up. We just did the first video in a series that will be building out at least one entire fleet. After that, hopefully I'll move on to another entire fleet. The plan is to build out an entire lore for these fleets and the world that they are going to be in. So there's going to be ships, buildings, stations, all those nice things. But first, we're working on this fleet, and we just started on the Light Fighter. So that's pretty cool. And we'll be finishing up the Light Fighter hopefully this Friday if I can find time to record. Other than that, we'll be doing some Star Citizen, the Star Citizen Adventure series, which is a highly edited, almost machinima kind of vibe, somewhere between Let's Play and machinima series that I'm hoping to start up either this week or next. Start recording maybe out the next week. And on top of that, if I do any streams in the future, they will be on my YouTube, which, as always, is just Nazeris on YouTube. So just search up Nazeris. You should find it pretty quickly. It's quite a unique name. It's also the name of an ant. So there's that.
I'm going to drop my YouTube. Wait, hope that's not my YouTube link. Oh well. Oh, no worries. Hopefully we don't have to do that.
There you go.
And sweet, thanks.
You can just right-click the thing below the stream and say copy link address.
I'm not watching it, so.
Oh, okay. That was right.
Yeah. Normally,
that should be Blizzrad doing that then.
Yeah, Blizzrad. God, what do I pay you? What do I pay you for? I'm hopefully so. My mom comes in town tomorrow morning, and we're going camping on Wednesday.
Cool.
Wait, tomorrow's Wednesday. We're going camping on Thursday. But I'm hoping that in the afternoon I can get. It will probably only be about 30 minutes. But I'll be live on Twitch. I'll make the announcement on Twitter, which is Tree, Twitter.whatever, and it's Tree0311-SC. I'll make the announcement for when I'm going to be doing that, talking about that the lore related to a specific part of the leak from Squadron 42. So not going to be spoiling that leak, not going to be sharing it in there, just one screenshot, but then talking about the lore surrounding that screenshot and why it's important, because it's kind of cool. So I'm hopefully going to be able to do that tomorrow. I'll keep you guys updated. For updates, keep an eye on my Twitter and also join the Discord. They're all in there.
Is it the shot with the Bengal in it?
Maybe.
Okay, because as long as you don't I'm gonna watch it. I might not get live, but I'll watch the VOD.
I'm not going to talk about anything else.
Saying there's a Bengal in it is not spoilers. That's the least spoilery thing in the entirety of Squadron. We know the Bengal's in Squadron. We've seen it 50 times now.
The good thing about that leak is it is not plot spoiling at all or anything. It is larger clips of things that we have already seen. And
Paul said was really spoilery, actually, and but I don't know of it. I don't feel like I've been spoiled.
Yeah, I don't consider it spoilery at all. I wish that CIG had released it, and been able to do it on their own terms, and with the production value and the quality that they wanted. But instead of the visual teaser from a couple years ago or the trailer from a couple years ago that was like 2 minutes. This is the same thing, but in 9 minutes. Yeah, it's a lot of the same scenes, but more of that scene. An extra 20-30 seconds on each end or whatever. So
I think what they should do, just because it's already out there, they should take the visual teaser and this leak footage, give it to an editor, tell it what is absolutely not allowed in, and release an extended visual teaser for Invictus next year.
Yep. Oh, for sure. But yeah, I will be the lore bits that I found around that corroborate why that exists. I thought were really cool and interesting. So I'll be talking about that and not spoiling any of it. I wanted to I am going to hop on that bandwagon and make a little clip for that. And then hopefully next week we'll be able to do game night do game night at some point before I leave, where we can do some co-op gaming. Nazeris and I are planning to be back for the next installment of the Pathfinders podcast next Monday, and we should be having our regular content with a Spectrum Pulse and Scanner Anomalies. Spectrum Pulse being us keeping our fingers on our fingers on the spectrum. It's meant metaphorically and literally. We're looking for questions that the community has about the development, about the different mechanics, of Star Citizen, about what's going on, so that we can do a deep dive and find answers together and share them with you. We share these things objectively, and then we provide our subjective analysis of them. But then we always include all the citations of what we find and share it with you in the source document when it goes up on YouTube. And then we do the same thing for Scanner Anomalies, but those are things that Nazeris and I are individually curious about.
And
so
I
stay
already
tuned
know what
for those.
For my Scanner Anomaly.
Ooh, I do not. I'll be researching that while I'm sitting by the campfire with my tablet and drinking coffee or a beer. But
as a teaser, it's a timeline.
Ooh. Let's see. There are no channels that I follow who are live right now for a raid. Does anyone have any suggestions of someone who is online that they follow that we should raid before we go? Fair Assault? Sweet. Fair Assault. Bingo. Alright, first one. Alright, thanks again everyone for joining us and hanging out. I really appreciate it. Again, thanks Cromtac for the big donation. And now that I'm an affiliate, any monetization that I get at the end of the month, when I get a statement or whatever that starts working, I don't know how this works. We're going to find out. I'll be posting those statements where, hey, this is how much, how many dimes I got from Twitch, and this is all the dimes going to stackup.org. So whether you donate or whether you watch and you have the ads or you actually subscribe, any and everything will go to StackUp, and I will provide evidence via Twitter and in my Discord of such. So your viewership, and any other support you want to provide will go entirely to stackup.org. My bills are paid. I have all the things that I want and need. I have a loving wife and a son, a rewarding career. So let's get back to them. Nazeris, do you got anything else, bud?
Nope, that's all I got.
Alrighty. Well, that's it for the Pathfinders podcast. Again, this will be uploaded to my YouTube, hopefully within the next several days, if not by the end of the weekend, because I am going camping. And so if you find somebody who thinks they would be interested in what we do here, you can send it to my YouTube, and that's where they can find it. And thanks again. Have a good night. Nazeris, do your thing.
Okay, thank you again, everyone. Even though it's been said several times. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for listening. Thank you for all the chats and the interaction that we get. We love doing this not only to fulfill our insatiable Star Citizen appetites, but also to interact with the amazing community. But thank you again for everyone that showed up. And as always, be kind.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. All right, on to Fair Assault.
Tell them we said hi.
Okay, so I clicked the ready to raid.
Mm-hmm.
Counting down.
Yep.
And raid now?
Sure.
It did it.
Yep.